Welcome, everybody, to the first Mad Mole Show, where we're going to talk about conspiracies and just all around strange shit and see what each other's thoughts on it are. Our first topic today is going to be, was Jesus a real man or was Jesus a myth? So, would you like to start, Mad?
Well, yeah, I'm glad to be the co-host here for the Mad Mole Show. Was Jesus a real man? Yeah, I would say he was. He was actually in the Roman books as a man who was executed, and that is a fact. The Romans have paperwork on him, and the Romans had paperwork on everything. So yes, sir, Jesus was a real man.
I have actually heard the opposite. I've heard that he's mentioned a few times in passing by someone who is somewhat like Homer, who's semi-credible. I can't. You said Tacitus?
Yeah.
I think
really.
Really,
I thought he was written down as a rebel rouser out of Jerusalem, and they threw him out or whatever, and they fucking killed his ass. He was actually in the books as being executed.
What's actually written, they think it's a forgery, first of all. What's actually written is, because the writing style didn't even match up to the original writers, and it was only like 120 words a paragraph. If there was a guy that was that big of a problem, and he was supposedly the Messiah, don't you think the Romans would have wrote down more than 120 words?
No, I don't.
Really?
No, I don't.
Really?
Because there was 5 or 6 different messiahs running around at the time. The Jewish people were going fucking crazy with prophets at the time. Jesus was one of many prophets. Jesus wasn't a thing until he supposedly was resurrected.
So you're saying Jesus was just a man then that happened to be the one that was crucified, but that doesn't mean he was divine.
He was a real man. But he was a real man.
You don't think he was divine though?
No. No, that's not what we're arguing. We're arguing, was he a real man? I believe he was a real man.
My thought on it is that Jesus was Jesus is actually a metaphor for the temple.
You're breaking up, bro. At least to me. Maybe I'm the only one.
The Jewish sect it would have been. It wouldn't have been Christians at the time. What the Jewish sect did, like, you know, the story of Mark where Jesus kills the fig tree.
Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but you broke up that whole time for me. I can't hear a word you're saying. Is it just me? No,
it was the entire thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Ferodium or Frobidium. It's gonna be hard to say that name, man. It was a lot easier on the red eye.
Really? Oh, are you like drunk or something?
I only had one beer, sir. Thank you very much.
Let's see. Okay, I think he was definitely a real person. I was just doing some research right now, and you were talking about Roman documents and things, as well as, let's see here. I found a historian by the name of, what's her name?
Go ahead for video.
Okay, yeah, I'll just ignore that. Let's see. So this historian named Amy Jill Levine, so take Levine with a grain of salt. She says here that the timeline of Jesus can be divided into 3 separate, distinguishable historical facts. So let's see here. They have, let's see. Yeah, I just looked at this where it was. Yeah, we know for a fact that he was baptized. We know for a fact that there was a trial. And we know for a fact that, where was it? There was some kind of crucifixion. So whether or not this guy was a divine individual or not, that's not really the point. because the point of this question is really we're just asking, was he a real person? I think even if you don't look at the actual historically verified stuff, if you just look at the New Testament, or even just contemporaneous sources and things, the fact that if you look at the work of Paul, like Saint Paul, basically his creation of Christianity, or not creation, but you get the idea. It's all based upon this one individual. So I mean, it's despite that he was around after the death of Jesus, it just wouldn't really make sense if this guy was just a make believe character. I mean, it just seems bizarre, because why would these books spend so much time illustrating the life of this one man if he didn't even exist? If he was some kind of metaphysical or spiritual mythologized hero or some kind of antagonist, then I think it would be much less important for these different writers of the New Testament Gospels to actually go into his lineage, his like his father was a carpenter, he was a carpenter, like all these kinds of more mundane stuff. Like it seems very much that there had to be some kind of historical figure, whether or not he was a divine individual or not.
Yeah, just a lot of like inane details that are rather bland, but very specific and kind of lend credence. Yeah, I understand.
Well, also, I mean, the fact is there was many, like I said, there was many different so-called messiahs running around the countryside at the time. They were all considered rebel rousers by the Romans. And it was the Jewish priest class who kind of led that province that protected them for the most part. And when Jesus pissed them off, they turned him over. That's what happened.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you're clear.
Yeah,
Thank God.
I thought my laptop was plugged in, but it obviously wasn't. So when it gets real low on the battery, it tends to not want to work right. So, but what I was saying was, I think that Jesus was a myth because, like, if you read the book of Matthew, Jesus was, he killed the fig tree because it wouldn't bear fruit and because it was out of season. That was kind of like a metaphor for, we don't need the temple anymore to worship. I don't know. Have any of you guys ever read Richard Carrier?
Sure.
No.
Huh? No? Richard
Oh,
Carey is a mythicist. I think he's got a PhD in ancient languages. So, I mean, he's read the actual stories and the languages they were written in. And he explains a lot of that stuff. Now, I mean, was there a guy named Jesus? I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think there would have been a lot more written about him if his following was as intense as people said it was. That's all I'm saying.
Let's see.
I'm trying to think. I mean, because the Romans didn't Christianize, so to speak, until when was it? About 300 AD,
right,
when
right.
Constantine put the symbol of God on their shields.
Is it 318 or something?
Right around there.
I'm trying to find a timeline. Oh, here we are. Hold on. 312 AD, Roman general Constantine leads army into battle with symbol of God on their shields. Okay, so it's 312 AD, or around that time period when they start to Christianize. So I mean, I would suspect that around the time of Jesus, you're talking about you're talking about a Roman Empire rather, that's still relatively pagan. There are probably small sects of people worshiping Mithras. There's still probably a few people that are starting to come around to Christianity, but I would think that they would be rather adverse to anything that Jesus would have to say. And hypothetically, I mean, I would see good reason to try and write him out of history and not give this person any kind of credence in terms of legitimacy and everything like that. I mean, that's typically what people do. If you run into some kind of adversary that you can't necessarily fight, then you propagandize, you don't lend them credence, you don't platform them. So I mean,
I understand what you're saying, but the Roman Empire didn't work that way, dude. One person would have not been able to throw a monkey wrench into the works.
There was more than one. There was more than one Messiah running around being rabble rousers. And what part of Matthew are you trying to quote? I have Matthew open.
No. I don't remember exactly what verse it is. Jesus Christ. No, but read it. Look for it's where he kills the fig tree because it wouldn't bear fruit because it was out of season.
And what is the point of this again? What's like?
What I'm saying is the whole book of Matthew is a parable. It's written in like in a circular fashion. So one thing leads to another, and then that thing leads back to another. And so what I'm saying is, they said Jesus. They used Jesus as a metaphor for the temple because they no longer. So once Jesus was sacrificed, they didn't have to atone for their sins once a year. Their atonement was forever. I mean, it was a one and done deal. So Jesus. So that's why Jesus is the Lamb of God. That's also why he's the only way to the Father. And that used to be the job of the temple. They were trying to take the power away from the priests of the temple. Mm-hmm. So they use Jesus as a metaphor for saying, "Hey, we don't need these guys to worship our God."
Yeah, but I mean, John the Baptist, he said his voice is shouting in the wilderness, "Prepare the way for Lord's coming, to clear the road for him." And what that means is there will be prophets to come. And that's why there was many prophets running around at the time of Jesus. And that's why they were a problem for the Romans. It wasn't one man that we're arguing about. It was many speaking similar messages and being a thorn in the Roman sides. And what does
Rome it wasn't so much the Roman side, it was the Jews.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Judea was almost a non-entity to the Roman Empire. I mean, they were just like that was like their New Jersey, dude. It really didn't matter to them.
Yeah, just pay your tax and we'll leave you alone, essentially.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it boiled down to.
Yeah. I feel like we're kind of beating around the bush, essentially. Because I'm on like the Wikipedia page. I don't know if that's cheating or not, but the historical Jesus. And let's see. So it says here, there are two widely accepted historical facts about this historical Jesus. Almost all modern scholars, so this is a quote, consider his baptism and crucifixion to be historical facts. Historian John P. Meyer used the crucifixion as historical fact and states that, based upon the criterion of embarrassment, Christians would not have invented the painful death of their leader. Meyer states that a number of other criteria, the criterion of multiple attestation, the criterion of coherence, the criterion of rejection, helped establish crucifixion of Jesus as a historical event. Let's see. There's also, people say that, other historians say that his crucifixion is indisputable. Let's see, the existence of John the Baptist within the same time as Jesus and his eventual execution by Herod Antipas is attested to by the first century historian Josephus, and the overwhelming majority of scholars view Josephus's account of the activities of John the Baptist. Josephus, sorry, accent. Josephus, account of the activities of John the Baptist to be authentic. One of the arguments in favor of the historicity of John the Baptist and Jesus' baptism is the criterion of embarrassment, i.e., that it is a story which the early Christian church would have never wanted to invent. Another argument used in favor of the historicity of the baptism is that multiple accounts refer to it, usually called the criterion of multiple attestation. So multiple people, different people are saying that this happened. There's the first century historian Josephus. There's I mean, it just seems like it would be pointless to concoct this elaborate scheme if all you're trying to do is just preach some morals that go against the Jewish Pharisees and the Jewish authority. I mean, it seems like it would be kind of a waste of time if all you're trying to do is just just uproot the established order.
I get what you're saying, but you got to remember that there was nothing written down about, okay, if this guy was such a rabble rouser and he was such a thorn in the side, as you guys want to say, why was nothing written about him until 100 years later? Or at the very least, 60 years
that's
later.
not true.
That means, yes, it is true. Can you give me some evidence?
They have it in the rolls. They have it in the rolls within that time period, or else we wouldn't know he was executed by the Roman transcripts.
And once again, Tacitus and Josephus, they think them were both forgeries that the Christians added on to make it look more authentic. And they
I don't think so. Okay, you're Rome, right? You're Rome. You're multi-theist, right? You're multi-theist. No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying take this. You're Rome. You're multi-theist. You have these that says Jesus was born in Judea, Roman province, and that he rose from the dead and he was, crucified and all this. You're telling me if he wasn't a real person, they wouldn't have released, hey, we never crucified this guy. What are you talking about? That never happened. No, instead, cracked down on the cult. They fucking killed him. They ran him out of their territory. Why? Because he was a real person. He was a real martyr. And they created a martyr and they knew it.
What's this here? The value of this evidence is that he both died. The Christian writings to talk about Jesus are the epistolas of St. Paul.
What do you call it?
Epistles?
Epistles, yes, the Epistle of St. Paul, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. The Epistles of St. Paul, and scholars agree that the earliest of the letters were written around 25 years after Jesus' death at the very latest. However, the detailed biographical accounts of Jesus in the New Testament gospel dates around 40 years after he died. These all appear within the lifetime of numerous eyewitnesses and provide descriptions that comfort the culture. First Palestine. So you're talking around 30 to 40 years when actual writings start to crop up.
Can I tell you a little bit about mysticism?
Mysticism, sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. Here's the mysticist position and astrotheology. One of the major planks of mysticism is recognizing the ancient astrotheology and nature worship engaged in by the cultures of antiquity, whose religion and myths contributed to the formation of the Bible-based Abrahamic faiths such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In particular, but other religions as well, the astrotheology can be summed up in a nutshell as the reverence for and the personification of the sun, moon, earth, planets, stars, and constellations, as well as other celestial bodies and natural phenomena. The study of mysticism, astrotheology, and archaeoastronomy reveals a very ancient body of knowledge that is both highly fascinating and far too overlooked in today's society. The astrotheological aspect of mysticism may be seen in remarks such as those by ancient Greek writer Diodorus Siculus, and he lived between 90 and 21 BC. So let me get down to the Jesus part of it. Okay. Okay. Although many people may not be aware of the long-term and voluminous studies involved in what is called mysticism, the questioning of the Bible as representing mythology goes back several centuries. Much of the major work in this field has occurred in Europe, especially in France and Germany. In France, at the end of the 18th century, appeared the multi-volume work of Professor Charles Francois Dupuy from 1742 to 1809, who put together a massive amount of evidence showing that many of the ancient gods and goddesses were solar in nature, and the biblical characters such as Jesus shared numerous aspects in common with these deities. Duplay was followed by Count Volney, both of whom tutored French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, who himself is reported as having stated that if it was a big question whether or not Jesus Christ really existed. And then it goes on, they keep studying, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
I still think you would have a better argument with Moses never existed than Jesus. I mean, really.
Okay. So even if Jesus was a real man, what difference would that make?
The difference is he died a martyr and created a cult which grew into a worldwide religion. That is Catholicism, which fractured off into many different groups. That's the point. Just like I believe Jesus was alive, I believe he had a wife, Mary Magdalene, and he probably had a child.
Heretic.
To be honest,
fair enough. Go ahead, 40. I just want to say fair enough. Go ahead, 40.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, there's about as much historical evidence as we can possibly get to prove that he's alive, which isn't much. I mean, enough writing for me to work on the assumption that he probably was a real guy. However, I mean, if you want to talk about his actions, there's so many actions that Jesus does that, how should I put it? That they keep cropping up again in various religions. So
exactly.
He may have been real, but I don't believe, even half the shit that he did that people say he did, he actually did, if that makes sense. Half the shit he did.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, because I mean, there's all kinds of stories going back through, just even Egyptian mythology, which was relatively close to the region, and I'm sure, this bled into Arabic mythology at some point as well. And Roman mythology, you have all these different savior figures and whatnot, and they all go through the same experiences of dying and resurrecting, and getting nailed to things. That's something that happens quite frequently for some reason. So I mean, like when we're talking about him being executed and everything, I don't necessarily know if he was crucified. Because, I mean, even when you're talking about the crucifixion of Jesus, there are multiple interpretations to say, oh, well, I mean, you can translate this word 6 different ways, and so maybe he was drowned in a puddle. Maybe they threw him off a cliff. Maybe they burned him at the stake. There's too many ways to interpret things.
Yeah,
so
and the thing is that Rome killed so many people for so many things. Do you think that they would have, I mean, if he would have been as big an issue as you're claiming he was, don't you think they would have wrote down something about him?
I'm not saying he was a gigantic issue. He was still in the province of Judea. What I'm saying is the Romans have a pattern of crucifying people they don't fucking like. I'm saying he was a real man and he was crucified. That is my... And let's let the new guy talk. What's your name? Where are you from? What's up?
Nimrod.
Welcome, Nimrod.
Your mic.
That's a good Green Day album, by the way.
That is a good Green Day album.
Oh, I was thinking the historical figure.
Yeah, that too. He wasn't a great king. He wasn't a very good king, though. It's a better album.
Nimrod is fixing his mic. I wanted to chime in with what 40 said. So, again, this is just like Occam's razor. So you were saying that there's other religious sources that have literal, or not literal, but accounts of this guy named Jesus. So, for example, let's look at the Talmud. For example, the Babylonian Talmud, written in the 4th century. Not written in the 4th century, but collected and written down. Like written stone, essentially. Transcribed. Yeah, that's the word. So if Jesus was not a real person, why would the Jews even bother to acknowledge his existence? Because it does pose a threat to their religious order when you really think about it, because he was a rabbi who strayed from the path essentially, and he was teaching things that were counter that ran counter to the establishment teachings of the Pharisees essentially. So also the Jews acknowledged the fact that he performed miracles. He was casting out demons. He he was a corrupted a spirit that was very flawed, and he was viewed as a character that was not all there. They thought he was crazy essentially.
I think what 40 was saying was that there's been savior gods or personal savior gods well before Jesus.
But the name Yeshua, though, the name Yeshua,
that doesn't mean nothing. Most of Christianity was stolen from the Sumerians and the Babylonians. I
beg to differ. I would say most of it is stolen from the Jews.
From the Jews? No, the Jews are the ones that took it from the Assyrians and the Babylonians.
Yeah, okay, but that doesn't mean the Christians did. They borrowed their theology because they were Jewish.
What do you think Christians
they were
are? Christians are fucking Jews.
I think your hatred for Christianity bleeds through a little bit, sir.
Listen to me. Christianity is a splinter sect of Judaism. That's it. That's all it is. And
that's what I was fucking saying, dude. That's what I was fucking saying. They didn't borrow it from Samaria. The Christians didn't. They borrowed it from Abraham. That's where they're taking it from. Abraham may have taken it from wherever, but no longer does that matter, because it goes into their theology, and they're taught generation by generation that it came from them.
Okay.
Just like there's a flood myth all across the goddamn world.
All right.
I mean, come on.
If you want to get into semantics, then yes, they got it from the Jews.
Is that semantics? I call that logic.
But no, they didn't get it from the Jews because they were Jews. That became
yes.
a sect.
That's so why they got their theology from there. And Jesus was a prophet or a fucking Messiah who expanded upon it. Kind of like fucking Joseph Smith considers himself from Christianity. No, you're laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because of this. All right. Now, you admit that Christianity is a splinter sect of Judaism, correct?
I said that from the beginning. Okay. Yes, that's why they borrowed most of their theology from them. Look at the Old Testament.
Where did the Jews get their theology from?
Talmud.
They got it from the Assyrians and the Babylonians and the Sumerians. So therefore,
Forbinium. Go ahead, take it away.
So therefore, if Christianity is nothing more than a splinter sect of Judaism, they got their religion from other people besides Jews.
What does this have to do with the existence of Jesus or not?
Oh, okay. I was going to get to that. The reason that they were a splinter sect, and what, like I said, once again, Jesus didn't necessarily have to be a real person. They were elevating him as the Lamb of God, and they were saying he was the Messiah, so they could do away with the temple and worship anywhere. They didn't have to kill a goat every year and give it to the Pharisees to wash away their sins.
I'm just gonna move. I'm gonna be right back. So
that's what I'm getting at. That's all I'm getting at, is that I believe if Jesus was a real man, then he was just like a regular Joe Schmo. They're like that, oh, we're gonna make him our Messiah or whatever. Or maybe he was a teacher.
No,
that's possible. Maybe he was a teacher, I guess. I suppose, but it just doesn't make sense.
No, from the first 30 years, we don't know what really happened. But 30 on, we know what happened. He wandered around preaching. He was a rebel rouser. We know what
the Bible told us. That's what we know. You can't use the Bible to prove the Bible, dude. I want outside sources.
Well, no,
I gave you outside fucking sources,
and I told you them have already been them sources have already been.
Yeah, debunked. You say they've been debunked.
I didn't
you say
the
science. You sound like a fucking climate. You sound like one of these global warming freaks that say the science is all in. That's what you sound like to me. The science is all in. No, historians are not. No, they are not. There is archaeologists digging shit up, trying to figure this shit out. The science is not in, sir.
Yeah. So what
You sound like an absolutist.
What have
You're
these
kind of disappointing me a little bit.
What have these archaeologists found, Matt? What evidence have they found?
What was the Dead Sea Scrolls? I don't know. That was something. I don't know, man. Come on. Seriously, Jesus wasn't a real man. They made up this guy out of thin air when there was a million different other prophets running around at the time.
Believe? Is it really that hard to believe?
No. Dude, there was a bunch of them. There was a bunch. I don't think you're getting that. I don't think you can wrap your head around the fact there was more than one fucking person who thought they were a fucking prophet.
Okay, come on. You're insulting my intelligence. Yes, I realize that there was more than one Messiah.
I think you're insulting mine. You're telling me the science is in an idiot. I think you insulted mine first, sir.
And in what way?
You're being an absolutist and saying I'm totally wrong when I've shown you citations. When he said 40, didn't you read it? That the people within the lifetime of Jesus were there to record the events that happened. Didn't that get read?
They gave testimonies around, on average, it seems 30 to 40 years after the fact. There is a probability that some of them were eyewitnesses, but the thing is that they certainly would not, given the average lifespan of that time period, they certainly would not have been alive for all of Jesus's life. Maybe towards the very end, if they're giving testimonies 30, 40 years after. I would suspect that they were probably there for the tail end of things. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest. It's all fucking touch and go, to be quite frank.
Is that an outside source other than the Bible?
Let me fucking shit. I think I actually deleted that page, which is unfortunate. Let me double check it really quick. The Epistles of Paul and scholars agree. Okay, so we're talking about Saint Paul, and we're talking about the dating of the New Testament. So no, this is essentially the Bible proving the Bible to some point. But these are the Bible is what a collection of testimonies, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a book written over many, well, not millennia, but many generations about the same type of thing, and it's split into two: the Old Testament and New Testament. That's why I'm arguing that they did take some of the facts from the Jewish tradition, and if the Jewish tradition with Abraham over how many generations beforehand took something from the Sumerians, then what does that matter? We took Christmas from the pagans. Does that mean the Christians stole it from the pagans? Not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
I wouldn't call it stealing. I would call it probably more like adapting.
I would not even knowing at that point. Like my kids, unless I watch the History Channel all the time, my kids don't know that Christmas came from the pagans. All right? I watch the History Channel all the time.
I would just call it aggressive marketing, to be honest.
It really wasn't we didn't steal it from the pagans. We happened to put it on the same holiday as a pagan festival because it would be easier to transition. Essentially, it's like a way to assimilate into culture. So it's like the Catholic Church was trying to essentially for new converts to the religion, it was just trying to help them assimilate and to help them understand. It was basically catering towards the other newly converted Catholics, essentially, that were more used to pagan rituals and pagan ceremonies and things like that. So it was really just trying to help them get on board with Catholicism overall.
Yeah, and the beautiful part about that really is that it really transitioned well into other cultures. It's especially when you're talking about early paganism from all over the world. In fact, is based primarily on astrology. It's based primarily on the changing of the seasons. You know, when you're talking about Beltane and everything like that, there's a spring holiday that's on, you know, the solstice, and it's on the equinox and everything like that. And so it translates rather beautifully to do that, because at that point, you know, every culture on Earth is worshiping the sun and everything, and so it transitions beautifully across all cultures. Penis.
Vagina. Ass rape.
Okay, I think we could come to agree that Jesus, there is substantial evidence from testimonies that have been recorded after the fact that this man died, that someone ended up being baptized by John the Baptist, spoke in parables, according to this historian, whatever the hell her name is,
Julia Roberts.
Yeah, Julia Roberts. What else? And was crucified after being put on trial by Pontius Pilate. There is numerous sources. There is evidence after the fact, too. And the fact that the Jews even acknowledged his existence rather than dismissing it altogether shows that there had to have been some kind of... why would they even do that? I mean, unless if it was part of Jewish history as well. So it's...
They don't acknowledge it, or else they would have thought he was the Messiah.
No, they do acknowledge him in the Talmud.
Okay.
They acknowledge Jesus' existence.
The oldest book of the New Testament is Mark, okay? And that was written either between 70 and 90 CE. So that was either 40 to 60 years after Jesus supposedly...
You're not talking about... You didn't want us to talk about the Bible. He's citing Jewish sources. That's not in the New Testament.
But there are none.
Jews don't believe it.
I'm telling you, there are none. Some. There are none that are credible.
You're full of shit.
Why would the Jews cite the Bible in order to refute the Bible? Or even
who gets to say what is credible 1,000 years ago? That's some bullshit right there.
That's a good point, actually.
It is a good point. I'll give you that. But I'm just saying, if there was a guy, there would be much more outside sources for it, and there are none. There are none.
You just said I had a good point. There are some.
The only two outside sources. Listen, the only two outside sources, like I said, are Josephus and Tacitus. They were the only non-religious writers that wrote about the
Jews. The Jews killed him. The Jews killed him.
I don't care who killed him. If he was real.
The new guy. The new guy finally talked.
Oh, good.
Bull. Me and you could calm down.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on though. So if you think about it, right? If he existed, right? He's a guy going around in a small Roman province talking about religion. Why would almost anyone other than religious sources be documenting his existence?
He was no use of the Romans. The Romans didn't even care about him. They were like, why? What did he do? What wrong did he do when he was put on trial? And that's why the Jews said, oh, yeah, he was essentially corrupting the young, like kind of like what happened to Socrates.
He was teaching the youth.
He was teaching. He was calling himself the Son of God, or calling himself the Messiah, which, according to the Jews at the time, was heretical because it did threaten the power of the Jews. And that's... If it was secular sources really that were interested about him, they really just weren't. I mean, it's a religious issue, not so much a secularist issue.
Yeah, I mean the Romans were. It's gonna sound dirty me saying this, but the Romans were rather tolerant of outside religions. I mean, the Romans are notorious for co-opting, Gallic and Egyptian religions into their own and passing them off. I mean, that's why you got Mithras cults in the heart of Rome, essentially. Mithras isn't in original Roman mythology. Only the Roman mythology that's later updated you know, when who was it that changed the original myth about the founding brothers of Rome? Was it Caesar that changed the Romulus and Remus myth? I can't remember.
Could it have been?
I think it was Caesar who later went on to change Romulus and Remus. He switched the fucking mythology around a little bit and fucked with it. But I don't see why the Romans would have any reason to go after him, especially if they're so religious. There's so much religious tolerance about them.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's Ovid. There's Plutarch. There's
No, it wasn't Plutarch. I know that.
Dionysus. There's let's see. I mean, I'm just listing off different people that have different primary source writers that have talked about this. Let's see.
About Jesus or the Romulus and Remus?
I'm talking about the Romulus and Remus. But let's see. I guess it's kind of off topic. I feel like we're kind of beating a dead horse, essentially. There's
kind of are.
Yeah, I mean, it's or more a dead Jew. But it's yeah, I mean, let's see here too. Jesus was hanged on Passover Eve, 40 days previously the herald had cried. He is being led out for stoning because he has practiced sorcery and has led Israel astray and enticed them into apostasy. Whosoever has anything to say in his defense, let him come and declare it. As nothing was brought forward in his defense, he was hanged on Passover Eve. This is talking about the let's see, Babylonian Talmud, Tractate Sanhedrin 43a. That is Jewish text. Let's see. There is also, yeah. Again, you were. I can't remember who was talking about like the mythical aspects of it, saying that he was merely a mythical character. According to this historian named G.A. Wells, who is a modern historian, he attempted to argue this, but even he admitted that nearly all present-day scholars do not agree with his thesis. So even the guy that thinks it could have been merely a mythological character acknowledges the fact that he's bullshitting.
Well, I mean, I'm willing to admit that, because I mean, to be quite honest, I don't care if Jesus exists or not. It doesn't affect me any. I mean, I would.
Well, it's not so much how we what we think about it. It's just the question was, did he exist?
Oh,
so it's the man, I guess.
Yeah.
Jesus, the man, existed.
I say no.
Well, no, and I just contend that he lived, not that he was the son of God or anything else. He lived and was killed. He was executed. That's it. That's all I contend, and I rest my case there.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. To be honest, I don't think his actions were. He lived and he died. I'm willing to settle on that.
And died. Yeah. Someone lived and died. That's we know for a fact. I mean,
the actions are debatable. But
I mean, we're trying to look for sources that don't even exist. I mean, it's like trying to it's like it's like trying to find exactly sources that are either completely lost or were never written down to begin with. So it's like what's the saying? When a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear? Essentially, it's like it's like that. I mean, it's impossible to be digging up sources that don't even exist. Only numerous oral testimonies that were ultimately transcribed into writing. So, I mean, that's what we could go for. That's what all we could go from, and that's what I've been able to provide, and some other people too. But I mean, we're beating a dead horse. Let's go on to something else. It's kind of just like.
I concur. I concur.
Yeah, it's
really not that important.
Yeah.
Okay, so would we rather talk about some conspiracy theories or thought experiments that will question everything, make you question everything?
Well, start with the thought experiments, and I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. But start with number 1, and I'll jump in on number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked that one you brought up earlier about the hypothetical. Was it the hypothetical society? No, it was the alternate reality that doesn't exist or something like that.
Okay. The veil of more ignorance.
I think so.
I think that's what you're talking about. Okay. The veil of ignorance is, suppose that you and a group of people had to decide on the principles that would establish a new society. However, none of you knew anything about who you will be in that society. Elements such as your race, income level, sex, gender, religion, and personal preferences are all unknown to you. After you decide on those principles, you will then be turned out into that society you established. The question is now, how would that society turn out? And what does that mean for our society now?
And Capistan all the way.
No, I know that sounds retarded, but I actually agree. I would start off with a totally anarchic society, because at that point you can diverge into different societies. Now, if Group A wants to be fascists and Group B wants to be socialists and Group C wants to be, good old capitalists, well, then they're free to do that in an anarchic society. So from that point, you could just go whichever way.
Well, there's two different like, I guess the guy came up with two different options it could turn out to be. Rawls argues that in the situation we can't know what our self-interest is, so we cannot pursue it. Without that guidepost, he suggests we would all try to create a fair society with equal rights and economic security for the poor, both out of moral considerations as a means to secure the best possible worst-case scenario for us when we step outside that veil. Others disagree, arguing that we would seek only to maximize our freedom or assure perfect equality. This raises questions for the current state of our society, as it suggests we allow self-interest to get in the way of progressing towards a just society. Rawls' ideas about a just society are fascinating to be delved into.
So who is that, John Rawls?
I don't know if it's
The
John
philosopher?
Rawls or not. Probably.
Yeah,
John
screw
Rawls.
progressivism.
It is
Screw
John
equality.
Rawls. It is John Rawls. You are correct. You were correct. Should we wait for...
I'm not aware of who that is. Did you say he was a progressive?
Philosopher.
He was a philosopher. And he came up with that in I think the early 70s, I believe, like 71, something like that.
Oh, that's why I don't fucking know him. Yeah, okay.
Let's see. I'll put a link to his Wikipedia if you want to look through that.
Oh, I got it.
Chat.
Yeah,
a philosopher of the liberal tradition. Yeah, I mean, he was a social justice guy.
Really? Do you mean liberal tradition as in libertarian? As in
No. Yeah, I mean, he
liberal?
was like you're like shit lib. Like Rawls' theory of justice and fairness recommends equal basic rights, equality of opportunity, and the promotion of interests of the least advantaged members of society.
Oh,
What is
progressive, not a liberal.
No, I would disagree. That's not progressive. That is actual liberal.
Well, that's like it's not so much. Let's see. What would you
It's
call it?
borderline socialist. Notice I didn't say communist. I said socialist.
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to go through the. Let's see. Political liberalism.
national he won a national humanities medal.
Yeah, was it Bill Clinton that gave it to him?
Let's just settle on social justice.
Well, to answer your earlier question of your philosophical society, mine would be a dictatorship. Period. It would be the Star Wars Empire.
Non-aggression principle.
Oh no, there would be an aggression principle.
No, mine. Not
fucking rebel.
NAP.
And that is why
I want to see the motherfucking NAP.
And that is why my society will destroy yours.
No, because once you bloody my nose, I shoot your balls off and fucking chop your head off and fuck your wife right in front of your dying
unlike the way you think
that's how it goes.
I wouldn't start off by shooting a few of your people. I'd just nuke you completely out of existence. There would be no retaliation.
Well.
That don't sound very non-aggressive, Matt. I'm just saying.
No, you attack us, we kill you. We take your shit and we keep it. That's the way it goes. But you don't attack us, we don't fuck with you at all. That's non-aggression principle in a nutshell. We will leave you alone until you swing your fist at me. No, you hit me in the nose, and I'll beat your ass.
You die before you even have the chance to start to retaliate.
Yeah, all it takes is one diesel sub off the coast.
A McNuke.
A McNuke, yeah.
Yeah, he needs a nuclear vessel.
Yeah.
From Alameda.
Side of Szechuan sauce.
Oh my fucking.
No, I think 40 got the reference, and that was about it.
Yeah, let's see. It's just shit liberalism. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think
shit liberalist is
liberally.
I think the society might start out as a commune and everybody's equal, but sooner or later someone's going to take power. There are alphas and there are betas. I mean, people want to say that isn't true in life, but that's just look around you. There are some people that are leaders.
Look at us.
Some people that are followers.
Yeah,
and that's why mostly betas advocate equality.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem is it also depends on how many people that you actually have in your society. I mean, hypothetically, how many of us are there? 6 of us? If the 6 of us were stranded on a desert island, I think we could function living in a commune. Oh, hey, you mind tossing me that broken bottle? I need to skin this deer or something. Whatever
because it would be best for our survival. I mean, yeah.
But I mean, if there were 600 of us, well, that's when shit starts to get a little sketchy. There needs to be, private property and shit like that. I don't mind if voice crashes.
I'm sorry, 40, but if I get hungry, one of you fuckers is disappearing.
Well, it's not going to be me. I'm the skinniest here.
I fucking knew it, that Scottish bastard. Yeah. He's going to make haggis out of 40.
We have to take into account the Pareto principle. So I don't know if anyone watches like Stefan Molyneux or not, but
occasionally.
Let's see. There would be...
Not anymore. He was a dick to coffee. Coffee with comment. No.
Oh my god, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Okay, yeah, coffee got crushed.
Oh, dude, yeah, and I feel bad because it was all my fault.
Yeah, he should... Stefan was telling the truth, and it was good. It's like, but no, you just have to be proactive. Be proactive.
Yeah, that's why...
Cater towards the market. Cater to the market. No.
Yeah, that's why Stephen Molyneux's computer business, is so success. Oh no, wait, he's making YouTube videos for a living.
Fucking A. It's a way to have your brother's back. Hell yeah.
Okay. So again, back to the Pareto principle. So, according to this, the square root of the total number of people involved in a project would contribute 50% of the work. The rest of everyone else in the group would make up the rest of the work. So that's why when you always work in a group of people, with a group of people, like on a class project or something, you always see like 2 people or 3 people ending up doing all the work, essentially. And then there's like some slackers. So according to this, 2.449, so 2.45, yeah, I guess like 2.5 of us will be doing 50% of the work. And the rest of us will be slacking off. And whether or not you people believe in the Pareto principle or not, I mean, it has been tested in various studies proving that it does hold true in numerous actual studies and tests. So we cannot have a communist society if everyone's not going to be contributing equally to such society. I mean, that's something else. It's also people will be unfairly, or not unfairly, but there will be an unequal distribution of resources
because people will be not contributing equal amounts of time and effort into different projects. So people are going to get pissed if someone who doesn't do any work gets their fair share or 1/6 of the reward of or the product of some kind of project, essentially. I mean,
let me put this easier. Let me put this easier. So we're all stranded on a desert island, right? But my fucking suitcase of books was saved, right? So everybody else was out fishing and doing what they can to construct huts, and I'm over there reading my damn books. I'm gonna be the weakest link. I'm gonna be the voice of one drags out to the fucking jungle to fucking eat.
I'm gonna be back in like 10 minutes. I just gotta.
Oh no! I can guarantee you right now that all of you will do your share of the work, because the first thing I'm going to make when I get to the island is a whip.
Yeah. Well, I'll be back in like 15-20 minutes.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, well, let's see what you can do with your weapon when I take it and kill myself with it. How are you going to make me do my work then?
Checkmate, voice. What are you going to do?
Well, easily I'm going to rape his body and eat what's left.
Jesus
when you're in a survival situation, nothing goes to waste.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well,
now I have to not kill myself to avoid the shame.
Well, you don't want voice of one chopping you up and eating you like fucking the Brazilian soccer team, right? I mean, that's a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with what Forbidium was saying, but I mean, it also depends. It's not taking into account the human element. I mean, that equation is taking into account that you have diverse amounts of people from all walks of life, versus, we are our group is a very specific kind of a breed of people. There's a good chance that, when we go to work, we try our hardest and we work hard, and, we're the kinds of people that, enjoy talking politics with our spare time. So, there's a good chance that we're going to be the kinds of humans that specifically survive. I'm sure everyone says that shit, don't get me wrong. But, right. We're a specific breed of people that can coalesce and live in the same environment relatively peacefully. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, more homogeneous. Yeah. But I mean, when we got into our free time and started talking politics, if there's a liberal on the island, voice might be eating him. I might help him.
I'd be okay with that.
It's only fair.
No, well, it's like this.
Island, and you have a liberal. Why would you eat them?
Millennial Falcon, I believe he's in my server. I've talked to him maybe once, MC. I think that's about it. I saw that in the side chat.
I thought you were talking about Star Wars for a second. Who is that?
He's just one of the people, the YouTuber. He's fairly young. He's been missing for a while. I was wondering what happened to him. Apparently, he got hit while he was on his bicycle and has been in the hospital with brain damage and everything.
Oh shit! Oh my god! Are you fucking kidding me?
Horrible.
You said he's a YouTube channel?
Yeah, he has a YouTube channel. I don't remember the. Yeah, it should be Millennial Falcon.
All right, let me look him up really quick.
Damn! I hope he gets better. That's horrible news.
Does he have the Fashwave logo?
What's the heck's a Fashwave logo?
Oh, how many subs does he have?
He doesn't have all that many, really. I mean, it's been a while since I've even been on his channel, but I mean, he just sent a Twitter account where he's explaining that he'd been in a coma and everything.
Okay, that's
holy
a black,
shit.
That's a black girl, so that's probably not.
No,
him.
I think it's
I didn't mean to take over your channel.
Right?
Well, I apologize. That was just.
No, it's his avatar is a plane, right? I thought.
Yeah, it's just a. That is his avatar. It's a plane.
Yeah, it's a Cessna. It's a single engine Cessna, I believe.
I just want to say that AMC's been on for 2 minutes and he's already dragged the conversation down. We were happy, we were having fun, and MC comes in and goes, "Oh, guess what? Do you know with this guy?" Yeah, thanks for that.
Did I interrupt your attempt
Well, not to
take over the world there, boys?
Not to backtrack or anything, but MC, do you believe there's any third-party evidence that Jesus existed? That's what we were arguing for the first hour or so of this stream.
Stop doing that, Corey.
I know you are kind of religious, so what's your outlook on it? And then we'll move back on, like Mole wanted. But you joined, so now I'm going to ask you. I am the No, this is the Mad Mole Show. I'm the co-host.
What do you mean by third-party evidence? What do you look
Roman or Jewish evidence that
evidence outside the Bible is what he's asking. Is there evidence outside the Bible that Jesus existed?
Like Tacitus or something like that.
Josephus.
Yeah.
From a historical evidence, the answer that's of that time period, no. Not that I know of. Huh?
No, I'm
he laughed. He laughed because he thinks he's won. What about within the time period of?
I just think that I'm right.
What about the time? What about the time period of people that would have been alive during the execution? And also, what about the Jewish records of the execution? I would call those third party, even though they are Jewish. They're not necessarily in the Bible. They are records, Jewish records from the time.
Well, I mean, the Jews.
And you can decide all you want.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna say third-party records, then you could just as easily say that the Gospels written by several of the Greek scholars at that time period were evidence. So, I mean, but if you're looking for something from like the Romans, all right, you're not going to find anything until you end up in the time frame of about Nero, really. Because at that point, Christianity had gotten a large enough base behind it to serve as notice for people.
Yeah, it was more of a danger to them by that time.
Well, I don't know if it was just a danger or if it was more of a
thorn in their side, maybe.
It was a you could say it was a disruptive influence to the cultural mechanisms that were underpinning Rome at the time. Especially, this is especially true if you looked at it from the perspective of the Roman emperors, who, frankly, some of them were insane and needed this, the base of support. They needed the populace behind them. And then if you have a group of, for lack of a better term, moralistic preachers within your organization pointing out the moralistic failings of the emperors, then you can see why some of them would say, you know what, this would be a good time to get rid of a few of you.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, I'm not sure what you're really looking for. I mean, it is an interesting consequence when you take a look at history from that point of view, because you could also say the same thing about Muhammad.
No, I wanted your point of view on it, that's all, and we wanted to move on a little bit ago. I just wanted your point of view real quick, because you haven't spoken about your religious side at all, but I do know you are religious. So I just wanted to know your point of view on it, because you're also into history. So
I believe in God. I believe in Christ, but that, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm religious per se. I mean, I don't. If I'll talk about my faith, I won't do it in a context like this. Mainly because
I don't blame you.
Well, it's not that I'm ashamed of it or anything. It's a matter of this isn't the forum to do it in. There's no way Twitter is going to sit up there, or not Twitter, but YouTube is a forum for preaching unless you have those tools to preach. You want to be a preacher, okay? But I'm not a preacher, folks. I mean, I'll preach about politics. I mean, people may think I'm a preacher from that standpoint, but no, I'm not a faith preacher at all.
Yeah.
Speaking of politics,
but
I'll avoid that too. I'll just wait for that.
Let's move on to something a little funner. All right.
What's next?
How about lizard people, aka reptilians, are running the world? This is a very sci-fi Hollywood variation on secret groups controlling us, famously championed by David Icke. Is that right? Is it Icke or it?
Oh, it's Ike. It sounds about right.
Okay, well, anyway, a professional conspiracy theorist from Britain who is a big player in the truther movement. The idea also has support from 12 million Americans. That's fucking insane.
What? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. What they believe is the top echelon of our government is actually controlled by shape-shifting reptilian aliens who have been lording power over humans to make them into mindless slaves for their own purposes. Hold on, I gotta scroll down.
Okay.
I have to say.
Can I ask the question? What's the purpose?
Just to create a new world order and take over, I imagine.
Well, I mean, okay, then you take over. Then what?
I don't know. You'd have to ask David Icke. I'm not David Icke.
I mean if the goal is to get off the planet and use us as slaves to whip us into space, I'm not that. I don't know why I'm all about it.
Right. I mean, but let's just talk about the probability of it. I mean, what?
If they're trying to hurt us in the freaking ovens and eat us for dinner, well, then I have a different theory.
It's okay, MC. You don't have to worry about going out to space because, let's be honest, at our age, we'll just be killed. So
we'll be used as an example for others.
Yes, we'll go into Albans to fuel their spaceships.
Well, I mean, it puts a positive spin on it. You got to look at the bright side, right?
Right.
Look,
right.
I'm going into space. I'm a star. I'm star oil. I'm star fossil fuel. This is great. In 100 billion years from now, somebody will be powering some good somebody's car.
That's funny shit. Triax is in the chat. He says, moon juice.
You gotta watch the moon juice. They're horrible.
Oh, yeah.
There are no moon
Come
juice.
on now. I thought I
Nazi
drugged that out
pagans
pretty
took
good.
care of the moon juice.
Oh, yeah. Nazi penguins rule the flat earth. There, we talked about flat earth. We got that out of the way, boys. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
I swear to God, you and Stags have some kind of like bait oil on you that like attracts the flat earthers.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a very special kind of perfume.
Yeah, Mole puts it on every morning before he leaves the house.
Yeah.
Just a little spurt here, a little spurt there. I'll get the flat earthers to attack me. But did you see what happened to that guy that put the deer fucking piss on himself? He got hit in the face by a fucking buck. All right? Watch out with that fucking flat earth juice. All right? I'm just warning.
Are you telling me he's going to get hit with a frisbee?
Yeah, dude.
I don't want to do the frisbee.
God damn it.
Those do hurt.
Oh, dude, I play disc golf. I have a driver. If I hit you in the forehead with that bitch, you'd be in trouble, man. That thing fucking flies. I'm telling you, disc golf is a better sport than golf. Golf is boring as fuck. Disc golf, you get stoned and drunk. Yeah, I know. But you watch that disc fly, and it's fucking amazing. It's awesome.
Disc golf is fun, dude. It's certainly fun.
All right. Well, so aliens. What about David Duke or not David Duke? Oops. Back on race relations. My bad. But what about the fucking aliens? Or are we gonna move on to Bigfoot or something? I don't know.
You can pick a topic. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So
right now, before we go on a different topic, I will sell humanity out in a second. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what I think? I think you work with the Loch Ness Monster, you Scottish bastard. I think that's what's up. That's our topic. Nessie.
Do not let me come over there and, tip your trailer, matey boy.
Yeah, you think you're strong enough to tip a single wide? Like, I'm not in a little camper trailer. I have a fucking single wide 2-bedroom house.
Yes, and I have
tip that over.
Yes, and I have multiple different licenses for heavy equipment. Believe me, it'll go over.
Yeah, knotted organ ain't gonna work. Yeah, bureaucracy wins once again. No, but seriously, Bigfoot. All right, so I've never seen Bigfoot. Now I'm a hairy bastard. When I say hairy, I mean like Robin Williams hairy. If I'm running through the woods, bare, fucking no shirt on, maybe I might be considered Bigfoot. But that doesn't count. I've never seen Bigfoot. But what I have seen is lots of photographic evidence, footprints. People hear noises. 40 Ounce has a story that I want to lead into here in a second. But I mean, what do you guys think about Bigfoot? Fact or myth? I mean, there is a lot of area in the Pacific Northwest, dude. You can have a primate species in the Pacific Northwest and it never be seen. There's areas 100 miles up into the mountains from where I live, not even 150, 25, that nobody goes to. I mean, there is empty wilderness, dude.
Well,
and whoever else wants to take... Yeah, there you go.
When it comes to Bigfoot, right? Bigfoot, by all reports, by all the, well, I say reports, by all the maunderings of insane people and all the faked pictures, Bigfoot has to be around 17.
No, I gotta stop you right there. Insane people? Insane people. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, no, there's video evidence of Bigfoot running down I-5 outside of not Portland, but it's on I-5 up towards Portland, but it was in a wilderness area, and he's running down the fucking highway, dude, and people called 911 and shit, and the fucking cops showed up. They couldn't find anything, and it wasn't a dude in a monkey suit. Like, this fucking big ass monkey thing was running alongside I-5.
Can you present evidence of that?
There is video evidence of it. I don't have it right here on cue.
Well, there's video evidence of it, and shouldn't it have been sent to, you know, the anthropologists and
okay, here's some evidence. The state of Washington has a law to not shoot Bigfoot. Now, is that because they're crazy people? Is that because they're crazy people? Or is that because
you have laws against shooting each other? I'm sure there's laws against shooting human beings as well, but it doesn't stop it.
No, hang on.
Let me finish. Is there laws against shooting unicorns or leprechauns? How about fucking little monsters that pop up under your bed like the 80s movie with fucking Savage in it? Is there laws against that? The boogeyman. Can you not shoot the boogeyman?
So Bigfoot is somewhere between 7 and 8 foot tall, weighs about what, in your measurements, 350 plus pounds, right? He has to mate, which means there must be female of them. Now, to give someone
you're not getting a date
for food, smart arse, to get you know, food to supply to 350-pound people for a day, you're going to easily require 2 or 3 life-size deer. Now, and that's every day. Now, in order to feed, they couldn't just stay in the wild. They would have to go where the food is, which means there would be farm attacks, etc., etc. No, man, I'm sorry, but no, it's a myth.
Wait, no, I have stood on my porch, or my mom's porch. It was only about 25 miles up from where I am now, on Easter Sunday. And I took a picture of all the fucking 150 heads of elk, fucking full heads of elk with fucking 5-6 point elks standing in the yard, just chilling. Why? Because it wasn't hunting season and they knew they could. And you're telling me that a small primate community couldn't thrive in the Pacific Northwest? I call bullshit.
No.
I call bullshit, and they are known. That's why we're talking about them.
Oh, come on. The Loch Ness Monster is said to be known, but it's not real either.
40 ounce. Tell you
things that aren't real.
Give me somebody. I've been the crazy guy this whole stream. Somebody back me up.
Tell me, Maud, how much weed were you smoking that day you went up for the picture?
Wait. When I saw all the heads of elk, I didn't take a picture of Bigfoot, dude. I never.
I'm pretty sure you were sitting in your fucking living room high as a kite and just saw all the kids in front of you.
No. I went outside and I took a picture of all the elk. I put it on my Facebook, and I'm like, oh my god, me without my bow, because there's 150 elk in my fucking mom's front yard. It happened.
But that was not a Bigfoot.
He's talking about the food source. I'm telling you there is a food source. I'm telling you there is one.
Well, yeah, there's food sources, but if there was a Bigfoot, why have we never seen one? You know how many people live on this fucking planet?
People have seen them, and you call them crazy. So why would somebody else come out and say they saw it?
We call all people without evidence crazy. That's what skeptics do, dude.
Yeah, well, sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they're just pricks.
And that is absolutely true. Sometimes we are wrong, and when we're wrong, we promptly admit it. But until there's evidence,
I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit on you promptly admitting it. Not you personally. I mean, skeptic.
I'm still not going to admit that there's outside sources for Jesus.
I'm still not going to admit that climate change is a human factor, and the skeptics say it is, and they won't admit the fucking facts either. So no, let's stick to Bigfoot here. 40 ounce. You said something about Mount Hoodoo, or not Mount Hoodoo, but Mount Hood. Go ahead, like before the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my grandma used to live in Northern Oregon and relatively close to a place called Mount Hood, Hood, like a hood on a sweatshirt, right?
Yeah.
And the town that she lives in, she knew someone who went hiking on Mount Hood, who had supposedly seen Bigfoot. The problem is that, you know, if I'm going to be skeptical, the problem is that you're dealing with relatively dense forest. Especially around the base of Mount Hood, and especially in the Mount Hood region, like the national forest that region is. So the problem is that, you know, anyone who sees a weird compilation of sticks in the distance might think, oh, well, that might be Bigfoot. But at the same time, how many gigantic moving objects are there in a forest like that aren't big and have horns and walk on four legs? So it's pretty distinguishable from the background, from natural wildlife in that area.
Did you say horns?
Horns. Like, Bigfoot is somewhat distinguishable between deer.
Oh yeah. Obviously, yeah. I mean, if you've seen a Bigfoot, you know the difference. Yeah.
It's like
even let's say bear.
Hang on.
Okay.
If you can't show me porn of it, it doesn't exist.
Oh, dude, I don't even want to make that search, but I bet you I could DM you some Bigfoot.
Oh,
I bet you I could find.
Sounds horrible.
We are. What did I tell you? You're not getting a date out of this voice. I tried to explain this to you. You're not getting a Bigfoot date. I understand your predilections.
Okay, well, why hasn't there? Have they ever found any? They say they found tufts of hair, correct, Mad, of Bigfoot or whatnot.
They have said that, yeah.
Some of those were found to be unknown hair. I'm gonna admit that before you even bring it up, because they had History Channel shows and they were like, "Oh, we got this hair, and then it turns out to be fucking elk hair or what have you. So, but they have some unknown hair samples. They have prints that they made casts out of. Maybe those were faked with a board or some shit. If you want to go into the crop circle theory, you know, like you can put a board with some fucking toe holes. I don't know.
But okay, all I'm saying is why. I mean, a lot of people have been looking for Bigfoot for a long time. I mean, if they're as intelligent as us, they could hide. But even the most intelligent person can't hide forever, dude. I mean, criminals get caught, don't they?
Well, it's
that's
like
not true.
Where Bigfoot
we
is.
find
He's hanging
how
off
many
the
different
edge of the flat Earth.
No, how many different species of animals find every year? Cryptozoology is a field for a
The
reason.
animals they find, man, are insects generally, or about the size of a toenail.
No, they just literally found a new species of panther or some shit recently that I read. Like, they're finding large animals.
Yes,
still.
but remember, a panther is a part of the tiger family. It's not going to be unusual to find variants of
and
it.
Bigfoot, and Bigfoot would be part of the fucking
what
family.
Species would the Bigfoot family be part of?
All right, what primates are native to North America?
None.
Maybe this one. I don't know. Wait a minute. You have a theory for like Sasquatch coming back from the Native Americans. You have sightings of the same thing over hundreds of years. You want to talk about fucking documented evidence? We have way more documented evidence for Bigfoot.
You're pulling eyewitness evidence, documented evidence. Do you know how bad eyewitness evidence is? If
yes,
me, you, and 40 all seen the same thing, we would tell 3 different stories, dude.
That's not necessarily true.
That is absolutely true.
No.
Well, there's 2 things really, because the mythos that you're talking about in Native American culture, they have stories of humans turning into bears due to the fact that they get lazy, and that has been cross-referenced with the Bigfoot mythos as well. So there's
Native Americans also used to sit up there and declare war on the beavers to stop plague.
Okay,
so I'm sorry. This isn't going to go anywhere.
But we used to burn witches at the stake. So, I mean, I could play that game.
And how many witches did we find?
Yeah, but
I don't know. We burnt a lot of people. Sounds like we got a lot of witches.
None of them were witches, though.
How do you know? Were you there?
Because witchcraft's not real.
Yes, Mom.
Oh,
here's the thing, right? Witches, real witches. No, hang on.
Get sticks up in here. Don't argue with you.
No, real witches, if they were witches, wouldn't have got fucking caught.
That's a good point, voice. But Bull's point wasn't good. Get sticks in here. He'll argue with you. Get some Wiccans in here. They'll argue with you.
No, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want to talk to those people. I'm going to tell you right now.
Because they're idiots. Dude, if anybody that thinks that they can go out... Yes, dude, magic is fucking bogus.
How is actually believing that you yourself have control over your own life and destiny a bad thing?
That is not what you said. You said they perform magic fucking rituals.
They do, but that's why they do it.
And they really think that what they do has an outcome on their life.
Hang on, Mo.
But that's why they do it. Gives them a sense of control over their environment.
I just want to tell you.
Why is that necessarily bad?
I just want to tell you. Hogwarts wasn't real. It was a film.
I'm not saying it's. Are you misunderstanding me?
Not at all.
Is Mike working?
Yeah, it works just fine.
I mean, seriously, that's not what I'm fucking saying. What I'm saying is it gives them a sense of control over their environment. So, psychologically, that is good. That is just like prayer. And mass prayer has shown to have an effect.
I don't believe that's good either.
Yes, and I'm sure. Hang on. No, it gives them control. Magic gives them believing in magic gives them control over their surroundings and their environment and their life.
Gives them a belief in
Let's see the look in their faces when they try to stop. No, hang on. We'll see what happens when they try to stop a bus with their magic. We'll ask them.
No, you turn what I'm saying philosophically. It gives them a sense of control. It makes them feel better. Therefore, it's good. You turn that into a real thing where I think they're fucking, Harry Potter fucking trying to lift a feather or something.
Okay.
Leviosa. That's not what I'm saying.
Let me rephrase this.
Because it's Leviosa.
Say that when they do magic rituals, the magic rituals are supposed to have an expected outcome, right? So you understand how life works, right? Sometimes shit works out, sometimes it doesn't. So whether they did that magic ritual or not has no bearing on what happens after it.
It has a bearing on their own persona, their own mental state. Therefore, they're more ready to make whatever they want to happen
But
happen.
that doesn't mean
Predetermined
make
destiny.
magic real. That's
It
what I
doesn't make
it
it real.
That
It
way,
doesn't sound like I'm fucking saying it's real, you motherfucker. God damn it.
What are you trying to say? That it's cool that they go out in the woods and fucking dress like weirdos?
Yes. Some of you Hindu
hang on.
motherfucker wants to meditate.
No,
I don't
hang
give a fuck.
No,
Yes, that's what
I
I'm
want to say
saying.
something here. No, Maud said something a minute ago. Wouldn't have just been funny if Dumbledore had turned to Harry Potter and said, "Hey, sometimes shit works out, sometimes it doesn't." You know.
Go stare at that mirror some more, you little cunt.
It's wonderful beliefs like that lead to, oh, this isn't working. time to kill the virgin. Okay, it's time to throw the guy in the wicker basket. You know, it's time to start Burning Man. Stick him in there. Let's light him on fire. Oh, the sun god demands blood.
No, I haven't even checked the chat, but I bet they're all thinking I'm some crazy fucking magician wannabe. No, I'm saying whatever makes them fucking feel okay mentally can't be bad. It's
Really?
better
So-
than
so
taking
being a human being,
antidepressants.
if it makes you feel better mentally, is okay.
Why else do you have religion?
To
For a
eat
sense
people?
of well-being.
Yes,
Oh
because
my
religion has
God.
worked out so well and safe and happy for people.
Actually,
What
you know
the
what?
fuck?
You know what? I'll be a fucking dick. You want to talk about eating people? Transmutation, huh? The Catholic Church, they believe that is real blood of Christ and real fucking body of Christ,
Yeah,
sir.
I
So
don't
talk about
see the-
eating
I
fucking
don't see-
people.
I
How
don't
does
see the
that make them
Catholics
feel?
at this
It makes them
point
feel a little bit
hunting
goddamn
people
better.
down
doesn't it?
and
No,
freaking
I'm not
taking them
crazy,
down the sun
goddammit. Fuck
statue,
you.
eating them and eating their flesh. I'm not saying that
Transmutation fundamentally is cannibalism because that's what they believe it is.
Yes,
They
it is.
believe
And-
that is the blood and body of Christ.
and
Therefore, yes, it makes them feel better.
it
Thank
is
you very
batshit
fucking
crazy though. Whether it makes them feel better or not, it's still batshit crazy.
Anyway, we were talking about Bigfoot. How is Bigfoot the same thing as transmutation?
You're the one that brought up transmutation,
call
not
it
me.
Bigfoot. Fastest way I know is to sit up there and let's go sacrifice a
Okay,
baby
Mom.
goat somewhere, and we'll end up with Bigfoot, right?
No, it's okay. I give Maud a challenge. He lives out in the forest. I demand you take your bow, go out into the forest, and bring me one.
Dude, I'll get arrested if I shoot the fucker. I'm in Oregon. I'm sure they'll fucking find something to arrest me for.
What's the
Poaching
what's the
Bigfoot or
penalty for
something.
poaching Bigfoot? Because I guarantee you, if you poach Bigfoot and can put him online, I guarantee the fine. People will be more than willing to pay for the fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd crowdfund that.
Okay, fine. This summer, I'm hunting Bigfoot. 40, you gonna come up here and hunt Bigfoot with me? I got a bow. I got some broadheads, dude. So we'll go hunt Bigfoot. I get drunk.
We're not
I-
taking down Bigfoot with fucking sticks and stones and shit. The bow, fuck that shit. I'm taking a.
You're taking a gun. I got a compound bow right now.
I'm taking a 50 cal. I wanna strap a giant fucking machine gun onto a Humvee and go hunting that way. I mean,
okay, well, don't shoot him in the face. We gotta identify him. All right, we can't shoot him in the face.
Let me try to put this a different way. So you're saying that a hominid creature has been hiding in North America for thousands of years, and we've had eyewitnesses. That's it. Besides that, we've had no proof. But there's gorillas in Africa that live in the deepest fucking part of the jungle, but we know about them. How is that different? How is that different?
Well, the problem is that you're talking about two different levels.
No, go ahead, 40. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and elaborate on that. What were you saying, 40?
Well, the problem is that you're talking about two different kinds of. No, hold on. Let me rephrase that. The problem is that you're talking about a group of people that are actively going out to a location and looking and cataloging species, versus something like Bigfoot that is regarded as a myth, and so people aren't looking for him. Now,
bullshit. People try to go out and look for it all the time.
No, but who's looking for him? A bunch of rednecks with like 3 or 4 cameras that they'll post up in, maybe kind of decent locations.
40, stop talking about mods like that.
Either that, or you have the History Channel, or nobody cares about, or you have people that you deem as bad citizens and untrustworthy that see him, tell you they saw him, they show you pictures of him, and you still call bullshit. How can we win on this one? You can't
catch Bigfoot. It's real easy.
Yeah, that's how we win. Give me visual proof that video that I can actually see.
And you know what? I just thought of the actual animal that I was thinking of earlier. The giant squid was thought to be non-existent until about 20 fucking years ago when they caught one off the sea of Japan.
And
so thank you very much.
75% of the fucking Earth compared
How
to the
big is the Pacific Northwest? Dude, have you seen the fucking map of the federal land in the Pacific?
I don't know, man. But I think the Pacific.
It's not as big as the ocean. It's not as big as the goddamn ocean, but it's pretty fucking big. How many times do hikers get?
Mod, the ocean is 2/3 of the fucking planet.
You're telling me that somebody goes out there with a sat phone and they still can't find them. But you're going to find a species roaming around in over 20 million acres?
Yes.
Have you looked at the Pacific Northwest wilderness?
Have you seen the ocean?
Looked at it? Fuck you. Look at the fucking what you're talking about when it comes to Bigfoot. Look at the fucking the wilderness you're talking about.
If it's a viable actual animal,
then
why aren't real zoologists looking for it?
People are looking for it. You don't call them real zoologists or cryptozoologists, but that's not real. That's fake to you skeptics.
No, okay, so what? They're cryptozoologists. But
they're using real modern technology. They're using the scientific method, but they're fucking fake. They found plenty of proof. They found plenty of proof.
No, hang on. I want to make a logical point here. Hang on. If this
like what? How many documentaries have they fucking made?
Hang on. If this creature has been roaming around the Northwest or some part of America for, I don't know, several centuries at least, there would be bones somewhere. There would be some evidence.
Yeah, they don't live forever.
Not if they buried their dead.
Oh God.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of the unfortunate conundrums is that you're talking about who are the people hunting Bigfoot? Rednecks in the forest with like 3 to 4 cameras. Maybe one of the cameras has like super fancy thermal stuff, right? The problem ultimately is that if you want to hunt something like this, if you want to go on an expedition and find some form of critter that no one's found before, you're going to need literally millions of dollars worth of funding. I mean, how much money do you think goes into these expeditions in Africa where, we found the black, white, spotted leopard tiger of Zimbabwe or something like that? There's like 6 in existence. How much funding do you actually think went into that expedition to actually run across a critter like that?
You're right. I'll give you this much. Bigfoot may not be impossible, but it is highly, highly improbable.
I agree. I think at the same time there's not even a will to look for Bigfoot, so why even try?
You actually believe Bigfoot exists?
No, I'm believing that you guys give absolutely zero credit to anybody outside your little sphere of the accepted scientists. And that's really what you guys do. Really? No, cryptozoologists have funding.
I should take
cryptozoologists have funding. They go out there with funding.
Because he does some fucking crazy experiments in his house. Is he a scientist?
Is Bill Nye a goddamn scientist, motherfucker?
No, he's an engineer.
No, he's an entertainer.
But everybody
he's an engineer. He has an engineering degree. He's not a scientist.
No, but everybody takes him fucking serious, don't they? Now there's multiple genders thanks to Bill Nye.
Hang on.
No, I'm getting a little pissed here. I'm sick of this fucking closed-minded bullshit. Because it's the same thing that goes on with climatology. It's the same thing. Oh, the guy that created the National Weather Service, he's no longer a fucking scientist. He's a fucking fuck that guy. It's the same shit, dude. It's just like fucking what happened when we said there was a round Earth versus a flat one, and they tried to kill fucking whatever the fuck his name is, Galileo, or they did kill him. It's the same shit. You're not in our circle, so fuck off.
No, hang on. Are you really, Mod? No, I want to ask you a serious question, Mod. Are you really going to be on the side that denies science?
Deny it? When they're using cameras, they're out there searching. They never said they found him yet. They are actually looking, and you're the one denying the ever existence of anything when we have found how many different species of animal in how many different years.
But that's fine. They're amateur.
That's fine. Amateurs with thousands of dollars of funding.
And when they bring it back in a cage, all of us will believe it.
No, but you're being dicks about it is what's pissing me off.
No,
but how are we being dicks about it? We're saying we don't believe it at this point because it doesn't seem plausible.
It doesn't seem plausible that in how many acres of land something could live there. I could disappear right now into the middle of that forest. You'll never find me.
But hang on, you have to remember that if you go back through, if you're talking about the wildlife, right? Well, the wildlife migrates due to different environmental conditions. Therefore, the Bigfoot would have to migrate as well to be able to feed.
It stands all the way up, almost like a human.
What does it eat?
Would it have to migrate? What does it eat? I don't know.
That's kind of an important thing, because if it eats vegetation, all right, then we should be finding evidence all around that a creature like that is eating vegetation. You'll be able to identify the vegetation that it eats from what it's breaking and what it's devouring, right? If it's a carnivore, once again, you should see the bones of other things that are chewed on in a manner that's not explicable.
Yeah, but in an area where you have mountain lion, fucking bear, you have all sorts of shit up here, and large areas of land where you don't go unless there's a wildfire. I'm serious. There's large acres of land nobody goes to. Zero. Nobody. Not the forest rangers, not anybody, unless there's a goddamn fire. You're telling me something can't live up there. I'm calling bullshit.
We're not saying something can't live up there. We don't think anything does, though. That's not the same thing as saying that we don't recognize the fact that something could live there.
So thousands of people that have sightings are completely batshit insane. They're all on LSD. That's mighty convenient.
I don't know if they're on LSD or not, but like if you have a presupposition that you're going to go and find something that you're looking for, any evidence you find, you're going to automatically, your brain's going to try to correlate that into that. Oh, that is it's real. It's right there. Don't you see it? Do you get what I'm saying? They're going out specifically looking for that. If you're looking for something, you're going to convince yourself you found it.
No. Okay. So first off, I'm not talking about the people looking for them. I'm talking about random sightings. Random sightings is what I've said over and over again. You have random
sightings by people that are not biologists that see an animal, don't know what it is.
Okay.
They assume it's a fucking Bigfoot.
Locals that have seen bear knock over their garbage cans. Do you not know where we live up here?
Yes, I do.
No, do you not know? Like, we see the wildlife. There is a mountain lion that lives in the back half of my property. There's a bear that will come and knock over garbage cans. I know the difference between a goddamn bear and a giant monkey standing up. Are you fucking kidding me?
That doesn't mean Okay, so all right, so they've seen something, but that still goes back to there's no physical proof. There's no scat. There's no fur that's been proven as it. There's no bones from a dead Bigfoot. There's nothing. There's no proof that it lives at all, besides some fucking footprints that someone could have faked. That's it. That's all they have is some fucking footprints.
There's lots of footprints, but move on, Mole. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's lots of footprints. That's it. Footprints.
Footprints, hair samples. No, and there's photographic evidence. There's video evidence.
We can move on to ghosties.
No, 40 wants to save that one. He left. He wants to save that one for later. Move on to something less combative because I feel like I'm attacking you a little much.
I don't mind, dude.
Move on.
I don't mind at all. I'm not mad at you.
No.
I'm getting a little irritated. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I mean, of course, sometimes people have different opinions. I mean, I just, like I said, is it impossible? No, but is it improbable? Very much so.
I mean, I have no problem keeping an open mind, but if you're going to ask me today if I believe in Bigfoot, the answer is going to be no.
Fair enough. No, like I said, move on. Let's go to those conspiracy theories the Big Think had. That's got to be something different. I know I'm co-host, so I can't just say move on. I got an idea. There you go.
What's this theory?
We're just looking at different ones.
Oh, okay. Okay, what's the next one that everyone wants to talk about?
I don't know.
No, they have a top 10 list.
How about,
is what he's looking at?
Well, how about chemtrails?
Oh God. Okay, let's talk about chemtrails.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so regular contrails dissipate in the air roughly an hour after they fucking get there? Maybe 45 minutes. Chemtrails, they don't dissipate at all. They leave straight lines across the sky. At least that's what Alex Jones told me. Now, being a pilot, which I never flew in the air, but I went to pilot school. They didn't really talk about any of that shit. They didn't talk about your contrail or any of that. So I wouldn't fucking know. I don't really know if anything's going on. I do know there was the SETI Institute, or not SETI. SETI looked for aliens. It was weather manipulation, where they were doing stuff like that.
Yeah. You see, when you say I went to pilot school, but I never went to the air, it's sort of a pointless boast.
No, I wasn't trying to make it a pointless boast. I'm just saying I went to the learning part and I had to drop out because I was taking care of my kid and I couldn't finish. So excuse me for having a life. I'm just saying they never mentioned anything about it.
Well, and that's fine. But what the question is are chemtrails real or not? That's what it boils down to.
Well, that's why I was saying that. Is they didn't say anything even about the contrails, how long they last before they dissipate. Well, I don't know. I mean Alex Jones says they dissipate rather quickly.
And he was right about frogs turning gay, I suppose. But I just don't buy the whole chemtrail thing. I think it's just condensation from.
I just want to
airplanes.
Okay. First of all,
I ended up on this stream and I don't know anybody here.
No, they do have cloud seeding where you put salt in the clouds and make it rain. So chemtrails could be real. Weather manipulation has been in the works since the 60s. The CIA released documents on it.
They have seeded clouds with silver iodide, and yes, it does work to a point. All right. The idea that a contrail will immediately dissipate is not an accurate statement. There are a lot of different phenomenon that can sit up there and cause, it to not dissipate the way people think it normally would. And they can sit around for hours and hours. In fact, some of them, when they launch missiles from, for example, from White Sands Missile Range, you will see those contrails, right, all the way into California, right, 4.5, 5 hours later. So the idea that these things just dissipate, normally yes, all right, because conditions are not conducive. But if conditions are right and clouding, the conditions are that a cloud's getting ready to form, it just hasn't yet, and then you compress that moisture in the clouds, then it's not going to dissipate right away. It's going to stick around for a significant period of time.
Okay, but that being said, MC, are you going to deny the fact that weather manipulation was the United States CIA Black Ops program? And they did try it because they released the documents.
There are a lot of things that people try. All right, to say that they were trying to put chemicals and do that. I think the closest that anybody's ever came was when they were actually putting different trace radioactive elements in the air during several different times so that they could identify wind patterns in case of a nuclear or biological attack. We did do testing like that, right? But to say that, well, we're putting chemicals in there because we're trying to change people's minds and brains and it's all brain control. No.
What about HARP? What about HARP? That's what I meant. HARP, not SETI. HARP. The HARP system. They're saying that is weather manipulation.
That place in Alaska?
Yeah. And there's also one in Australia, I believe. There's a HARP radio station in Australia. They have many different posts all around the world, and it's for weather manipulation, supposedly. What about that?
Why would you think it was weather manipulation? Because some idiot.
That's what I was told.
Some idiot basically said, "If this is weather manipulation, why wouldn't it be okay? This is a listening station for specific radio frequencies."
That's a fair analysis. I'm just going off of what I was told, and this is conspiracy.
Yeah.
So I mean, HARP is a conspiracy theory. I mean, could they not be trying to manipulate the weather from several points all across the globe, and in that case, try and create a global weather type net to, I don't know, make the most conducive weather for humanity? Or maybe for their own purposes, or cue X-Files music.
Would we like to be able to control the weather? Of course we would, because that mankind wants to try and control everything about his environment.
Right.
Have we ever come close to doing anything like that? No.
Yeah, but could we fuck up trying it though? If HARP was trying it, couldn't we fuck up? You know what I mean? Couldn't these hurricanes be a part of HARP? Be, maybe cloud seeding or chemtrails, how we started. We've had massive rises in the strength of hurricanes. And I don't necessarily think that's climate change.
We have not had freaking...
Well, the left will tell you we have. The left will tell you we have all day.
The left will tell you a lot of things, too.
Well, what say you?
No. There hasn't been any evidence that hurricanes are any stronger today than they were 100 and 200 and 300 and 400 years ago. There's just no evidence.
Yeah, the only difference now is technology allows people to find out about it faster, so it seems like there's more trauma in the world.
Well, I mean, that's very true. I mean, before we had real good satellite capability, we didn't even know about some quote-unquote hurricanes because they never came close enough to land for anybody to even realize they existed. All right. And by the time some of them came in, they were tropical depression, so they're never even named. All right. So technology does change a lot of things, and we are more aware of how the environment actually, the aspects of the environment from what we can observe. But the idea that HARP is controlling the weather. Well, if it's controlling the weather, it's sure doing a shit job for everybody, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, if we can control the weather like this, then the whole global warming things is not much of a fear because we can just turn on HARP and then boom, there, no more global warming. Right? Isn't that what we're looking at? You can control the weather?
Well, no, I believe there would be adverse effects. I believe it's a bad idea to try and control the weather. I believe the Earth goes through its natural cycles and we should let the fuck alone.
I mean, I don't think that we have the capability to control weather. If we did, then I think we'd be doing a lot better job than we are, that's for sure.
Well, let me give you an example of why we should leave the weather the fuck alone, all right? Look at the Pacific Northwest. Look at the wildfires. You know why we have such bad wildfires? because we put every fire out. That's why. Back before we settled here, lightning would strike, it would burn down, it would regrow, and it would be thinner, and it wouldn't catch on fire as bad. Sorry about that, my son. But no, that's why, and we interfered with that. And then, bam, we have massive wildfires that threatened LA last year. Holy shit, Los Angeles could have burnt down. All right? I mean, we're manipulating shit already, and it's backfiring. Why the fuck should we trust HARP or even cloud seeding and or chemtrails?
Well, wait a minute. You just basically said that all of this is. You made the assumption that all of this is actually happening, and that these things are actually real, and then you're condemning it. You don't even know what HARP is. We don't even know what we're saying. These chemtrails have to be some nefarious plot of some sort to say, okay, we can control the weather. Now, once again,
That's the premise of the whole show, MC. You dick. Shut up.
I apologize. You, of course, because I'm just trying to keep the government secret.
There you go. Yeah. Have you figured out the bad cop, good cop mentality going on here? Shut up. Just play along. Damn it.
Someone's got to represent the government concerns here. You guys can't freaking be out in all our secrets now.
Yeah. No, I don't believe that necessarily chemtrails are real. I do think it's kind of odd. I mean, even over Oregon, you can see the pattern. There's like a pattern in the sky. That's really weird. That never used to happen. I don't know.
What never used to happen?
Taking off from the Eugene Airport, they go one or two or three ways. All right. They don't do a grid pattern in the sky, and that's what's been happening with these trails. It's been almost like a grid pattern, almost like your crop spraying or something. It's kind of weird.
You're crop spraying it at 30,000 feet.
I'm just saying it seems weird. That's it. All right. I'm saying, kind of like. I didn't say it was. Damn, man. You're so touchy tonight, MC. Drink a beer.
The high concentration of libertarians in his area when you think about it.
Oh, is that the dragon energy? I just started complaining. Damn. That's the dragon energy. All right. We're good, guys.
This is the libertarian plot. This is how they're actually going to go regional. They're just going to use the chemtrail libertarian, fumes to sit up there and turn the entire area libertarian. It's not gay.
Yeah, it's a bunch of THC. A bunch of THC. They're dropping out of the fucking planes, guys. It's all good.
Just mix a little freaking PCP, couple laughs in there, a little window pane. We'll all be good.
No, Matt, Mole. I know it's our show, but I do want to go on one serious topic here, since it's me, you, and MC, and that's it. MC, Benjamin Netanyahu wants to bomb Iran again. Do we believe him? I don't necessarily believe him.
Believe in what?
Iran's been threatening us. They've been threatening to shoot down our ships, close down the strait. Yeah, see, that's about like my son right there. That's about how Iran's been sounding. Yeah. So I mean, should we believe Israel when they say that Iran has nukes and they're gonna fucking use them? They're saying that, and Netanyahu wants to intervene, and he's still on the warpath, and he won't give it up.
Okay.
Well, what does Donald Trump do about that when right now he's juggling North Korea trying to get peace there? You're the president of the United States right now, MC. You're me in 2020, right? So what do you do right then? You have your best ally in the Middle East, Israel, say, we got to get these guys. They're going to kill us. That's what Netanyahu's saying, okay? That's what he's fucking saying without saying it. And you also, on the other hand, have, hey, I'm about ready to close down a 60-year war. I should focus on that. What do? Do you actually attack Iran? And if you do, how do you sell that to the American people?
You mean if we were to go and attack them unprovoked, how would we sell that to the American people?
On behest of Israel. Israel has said
we are not going to attack Iran on the behest of Israel.
You know I'm not real into politics, but I just want to say this one thing. As much as people think America sticks our nose in where it doesn't belong, if we hadn't been the superpower we were for the last 100 years, the world would be a totally different place, dude. So don't always knock America stick their nose where it doesn't belong. Because sometimes no one else will step up and do the right thing. Sometimes we do the wrong thing. Sometimes we're fucking way off base. But sometimes I guess the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But
I apologize, my microphone went out. So
what do you think about that, MC? About,
can you hear me?
No, I didn't hear I didn't hear anything.
Okay, but you can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I had to reset my microphone, so I apologize.
Oh, no problem.
So, look, do I believe that the Iranians are trying to get a nuclear weapon? Yes. Do I believe they've been looking to get a nuclear weapon for a while? Yes. All right. Do I believe that as Israel thinks that they're going to get a nuclear weapon, they're going to take action and they're going to bomb another nuclear plant inside of Iran? Yes. Okay. These are all things that I think they're going to happen. All right. We ourselves have done things. We know that the Iranians are trying to acquire a nuclear weapon. Anybody who comes back and says, no, they're not trying to do it. Or if you go like Sticks, who basically said, well, they've been saying that for years and they've never been able to do it. That might be because constantly they've been getting attacked whenever they've been trying.
It's not
like, what?
I wanted to that, and thank you. You watched that video. So what say you to Sticks? So totally, because that's not necessarily my argument. Because I don't. I went from
argument is very
Democrat
simple.
to Republican to Libertarian, so I'm kind of iffy on Iran.
The reason that they don't have a nuclear weapon yet, or they haven't demonstrated that they have a nuclear weapon yet, is because action has constantly been applied and taken against them to prevent it. Direct action. Israel has struck the nuclear facilities of Iran in the past. All right, several different times they have flown over there, including once when we were during the Iraq War. Right, Israel actually flew a mission all the way to Iran to attack one of their nuclear sites. So to say that, well, the reason they don't have it, I mean, they've been working at it for because they keep getting destroyed. Do you forget about who the wonderful frickin' New York Times outed the fact that we totally destroyed the software that was running their frickin' nuclear centrifuges that they were trying to use to enrich uranium.
Yes, right? Me and you argued and butted heads. Yeah.
Okay, so to say that that action hasn't been taken, so therefore that the idea that they don't have a nuclear weapon, even though you've been warned, that's because people were taking action to prevent it. Direct action, direct intervention to prevent it from happening. It wouldn't surprise me if they're still trying to do it. I know that they're still trying to do it. Now, you can argue that if they get a nuclear weapon, will it really be a bad thing? Personally, I do think it'll be a bad thing because they have shown and they have a predilection of wanting to bring, especially the mullahs there, they want to bring on the 12th Imam. And they think that they have to bring on the worldwide cataclysm, and however you want to talk, the apocalypse, basically, in order for that to happen. All right?
No,
there are mullahs, and they are in charge of Iran.
So, Matt, do you think that? So, do you? What's your opinion on American involvement in the Middle East? Do you think we should just leave them to their own devices?
In the Middle East?
Yeah.
In the Middle East as a whole, leave them to their own devices. When it comes to Israel and Iran, I have yes. We have no business in Afghanistan anymore. In Iraq, we need to leave. In Syria, definitely no fucking business. But if you want to talk about Iran, we started this shit show. We created it. We tried to assassinate their leader. They are, and we did actually. We killed their leader. We put a puppet, and they had a revolution. We created this shit show.
All right, we did not create this. Okay, I'm tired of the United States getting blamed for every bad thing because somewhere down the line somebody made a decision.
No, I thought for once we can agree on Iran.
Could we have stopped the fall of the Shah of Iran? Let me ask that question.
I'm not a fucking historian when it comes to the Iran conflict to begin with, but what I'm saying is we overthrew them and they overthrew us and they locked up our people.
We didn't overthrow us. We sat there and allowed it to happen in an effort to say, okay, we're just going to be the nice guy. And every time we're the nice guy, what happens to us? We get blamed for everything just like we always do. And there's always people like you that want to run out there and blame America by saying America's at
the president who decided to be a nice guy fucked this up. It is our fucking shit.
Then we should go in there and take care of it, shouldn't we? If it's our responsibility to take care of it, then we need to take care of it.
That is why I'm torn on this issue. That's what I was trying to get to. That's why I'm torn. We created the bed. We should lie in it. And now Israel, our closest ally in that area, because fuck Saudi Arabia, right? You know, fuck them. Osama came from there. All right. He was a prince from there. Fuck Saudi Arabia. All right. Israel is our closest ally in the region. We need to pull back from all the other shit and deal with Iran and the Persian Empire. Because Iran is Persia. Iran wants to be Persia. Give them a chance. They'll be Persia. Go ahead, Mo. Sorry.
Matt, what's the main problem in the Middle East? Period. What's the catalyst for all of the problems in the Middle East?
World War I.
No, it's extreme. It's Muslim extremism.
It's World War I that created that.
It goes farther back than that. It goes back even farther, like to the
World War I created artificial lines that didn't need to be created, and it fucked everything up. World War I is the blame for the current situation, and I lay the blame at the feet of the British.
So you're blaming
Cabbage isn't here.
You're blaming colonialism for the.
I'm blaming the British for lying. I'm blaming the British for lying.
That was 100 years ago.
No, the Ottoman Empire, they lied. They lied to the group, so the Ottoman Empire said, if you fight against the Ottoman Empire, we will give you Jerusalem.
What I'm saying
they created Israel. That created the problem.
If we just walk away.
First of all, was Israel created after World War I? Was there a state of Israel? When did the state of Israel come into being?
It was World War II. Sorry, I keep saying World War I, but World War I.
There wasn't an Ottoman Empire then, was there?
They had to deal with the parts of the Ottoman Empire that created the fucking Palestinian
Ottoman Empire in World War I or World War II. The Ottoman Empire had ceased to.
God damn it! Never mind. Don't talk me into a fucking knot. No, you know what I'm saying too. You know exactly what I'm saying, MC. But you're talking me into a knot on purpose.
If Western influence, if Western influence doesn't stay in the Middle East, then the extremists will take power from the tribes. So you want a bunch of fucking extremists that want to kill us because we're kafirs.
They want to kill us because we're there. If we're not there,
they want to kill us whether we're there or not, man. That's one thing that you got to get through your head. They want to kill us whether we're there or not.
Is a thing. Blowback is a thing.
It's not the case here.
They hate us.
Nobody was invading them when the Muslims started their march in the 700s.
They don't hate us because we're different.
Yes, they do. Because we
They hate us because we bombed them with
But they hate us because we exist. No, man, Dodge. They attacked us.
We exist and we killed them. I mean, that's a good reason to hate somebody.
You can play the chicken for the egg. You can come back and say, well, this is the excuse, but it's not.
Blowback is a real thing.
They were attacking the United States, all right, attacking our people on a constant basis long before all of this happened.
How many dictators do we have to prop up before we realize we're the bad guys?
Okay, Bad Dodge. How many dictators did we prop up? Or
how
is
many?
It? Are you?
Do you want to go through the list?
Existed in the world, the direct fault of the United States.
How many dictators, dude? We propped up fucking Gaddafi for a while. We propped up Saddam Hussein. Yes, we fucking did.
Are you kidding me? We sit up there and bombed Gaddafi because he attacked us on LaBelle's disco.
We were friends with Gaddafi all through the 90s and early 2000s. Give me a fucking break.
I hate to tell you this, Mad Dodge. We were not propping him up. We were not the ones going around and doing all this stuff. You forget that the Soviet Union were the ones that funded his entire existence on the Ba'ath Party. The Ba'ath Party is a direct result of the Soviet Union. It was a secular socialist movement in the Arab world.
Well,
and you want to blame everything on the United States. It's our fault that we even exist.
No, but really, they hate us because we're Kafirs. It has nothing to do with us blowback. They hate us because we're not.
No, you realize in the Quran it doesn't say to wipe out the infidel. It says if the infidel doesn't.
Have you read the Quran? Have you really read the Quran? You're talking to an ardent atheist. I know you're an atheist, but I'm way into atheism. Have you really read the Quran?
I've never read the Quran, but it does. I have read quotes out of it.
Why are you quoting it to me?
I'm not quoting it verbatim. I'm saying it says in it that they tax the infidel. They don't kill them. You're allowed to live, but they tax them.
All right. When the infidels were taken out, when they took the city of Constantinople right before they renamed it Istanbul, what did they do?
I don't want to be a dick because it's my own side, but what did the fucking Crusaders do when they sacked Jerusalem?
Nothing compared to what they did to frickin' Istanbul.
Nothing. Nothing. There was a river of blood.
What they did.
There was a river of blood through Jerusalem.
They killed every single man in the city of Istanbul or Constantinople at that time. Every single man, and they sold all of the women who didn't get killed in the general attack, all right, into slavery. All right, don't sit up there and talk about this situation saying, well, what about the Crusades? And act like these guys were just peaceful, just minding their own business. The first question you've got to ask is why was Jerusalem attacked to begin with? It's great. Everybody mentions the Crusades, but you tend to forget the fact that the Muslims weren't there. They attacked Jerusalem and took it.
Okay. First off, the First Crusade came about because
the Crusades, yes, they were bloody on both sides, but the Crusades didn't start until 200 or 300 years after. Once the Muslims got as close as France and took all over Spain, Europe was like, "Oh fuck, we've had enough. We need to take care of this." So the Muslims are the ones that started all of it. So go ahead and talk shit on the Crusades all you want. But if you want to talk about blowback, there you go. There's some blowback for you.
I love how suddenly I'm the Islamist apologist. That's awesome.
Well, I'm amazed you are too, actually.
I'm not. No, what I was saying, though, is we keep interfering.
Do you know about the Crusades?
Yeah, I do know about the Crusades.
So you do realize the Muslims were attacking Christians.
I do realize that the hammer, the fucking hammer, stopped them outside of France. Yeah,
stopped them exactly. So that means they were invading European territory.
Yeah, they took.
So who's to blame for it?
Yes, I know my history.
So why do you bring up the Crusades and like they're like, I'm not a Christian, but like they're the guys.
No, I'm saying if you want to talk about Istanbul or Constantinople, you can talk about Jerusalem during the sack of the First Crusade.
Constantinople precedes the Islamic movement by how many centuries?
No, that's right. And
so you have an invading force from the very beginning that was attacking them for over 500 years constantly.
And hey, remember what you were saying about the Quran says only to tax kafirs and non-believers? You remember saying that?
It says that you can't.
Okay, well, the
them,
Quran
yes.
contains 109 verses that speak of war with non-believers. I'll just read you a couple. Quran 2191 and 1 through 193, and kill them wherever you find them, and turn them out from where they have turned you out. And al-fitnah, disbelief or unrest, is worse than killing. But if they desist, then lo, Allah is forgiving and merciful. So if they convert, they're fine. And fight them until there is no more. Disbelief and worshiping of others along with Allah, and worship is for Allah alone. That's just one of them. Then there's another one, Quran 2:244. The fight in the cause of Allah, and know that Allah heareth and knoweth all things. Okay, fighting is prescribed for you. This is Quran 2:216. And ye dislike it, but it is possible that you dislike a thing which is good for you, and that ye love a thing which is bad for you. But Allah knoweth, and ye not knoweth. Not only does this verse establish that violence can be virtuous, but it also contradicts the myth that fighting is intended only in self-defense. Quran 3:5-6. As to those who reject faith, I will punish them with terrible agony in this world and in the hereafter, nor will they have anyone to help. So, what were you saying about the Muslims only taxing the people that disbelieved? That was 3 out of 109.
Okay. How many chapters are in the Bible? How many talk about the fucking Jewish wars in the Old Testament? I'm just saying they do have.
I'm a Bible hater too. I'm not picking sides here. I'm just saying that you're acting like that, like Muslims.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is these are different people, and to intervene in their area of the world would be like to intervene in ours. And how would we fucking like?
No, it isn't the same. See, the problem, Mad Dodge, is you think they think like we do. They don't. Okay? This is not a tit for tat game. All right? That's not how they view it. That's not how they view the world. Okay? There is no commonality in thought here. Okay? We all are human. This is very true. We all have very similar emotions. But if you think we think like each other, you're out of your freaking rabbit ass mind. Their priority schemes, how they set up their societies, are a complete anathema, all right, to other cultures, especially Western cultures, as they currently exist. If you take a look at the Islam, all right, it specifies, in fact, it demands, all right, that you don't have a secular ruler, that the rule is by the theocracy, that's by the judges, and those judges are have to be basically their preachers or their imams. All right, that is the Quran. That is how they sit up there and set up their world. It is an anathema to sit up there and think that it's anything else. The idea that somehow that the reason that they attacked us, so we're sailing ships next to the Barbary Coast, so they attack us in the 1700s, all right, in the 1800s, in the 1900s. When have they ever stopped? They have never stopped. And yet you want to come back and go, well, it's only because we're messing around with them. That's why they're upset. No, Mad Dodge, that is an excuse. They would attack us no matter what. We helped them out in Afghanistan and then left them to their own devices. And we're still the bad guys. Because how dare we help them against the freaking Soviets?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fine. I'll concede that to you. You win. What is the fucking remedy then? Because I'm tired of fighting these wars. No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute, Mo. Wait a minute. Mo, just wait a minute. I have sons. I have sons. I don't want to see them go to Iraq. I don't want to see them go to Iran. I don't want to see them die.
Well, they're
what's the fucking remedy?
Run away to Canada anyway.
What's the fucking remedy, MC?
I have no idea, dude. I don't know.
I can tell you this. Perhaps the remedy would have been to allow us to do what we really needed to do in Iraq. All right? And let us finish the job instead of crying and bitching, going, we don't need to be there. Why are we there every freaking day of the week?
Just like if we would have finished World War I, World War II would have never happened. I believe that one too, as well, to be honest with you. I don't know what you think of that one, but
I do believe that if we would have done World War I correctly, if we would have sit up there and really got intervened correctly in World War I, right,
Yeah.
that we could have avoided the at least a lot of the real problems with World War II. Okay,
Yeah. That's the best.
but the idea that somehow you can go in there and play pussyfoot with another freaking culture that's a backward ass culture, and I'm gonna call it like I see it. Right, all cultures aren't equal. They're a backward ass 12th century mentality culture. If you think that they're just gonna stop what they're doing and they're gonna come to see the light because you've got an iPhone, you're out of your rabbit ass mind. Okay, yes. We would have to be there. Yes, we have to expend things. Yes, we have to go in there with brutality because that's all they understand at this point. Now, I'm not saying that that's nice. I'm not saying it's clean. I'm not saying that how do we fix this? There's no fixing it if you try to go in there half-assed and go, well, we really just got to go in with the light touch, or we just want to talk, because talking isn't going to work. We've been talking to these people for how many centuries, Mad Dodge?
Then do what I
tried to ignore them for how many decades? And what's the result?
Then do what I said. You go to war. You go to war for keeps. I take your shit.
Why can't we go to war in this country for keeps? Is it because of people like me?
Fair enough. It's not. And are you saying it's people like me? Because I'm down to go for keeps.
Well, it's people like Sticks. We want peace, love, and la 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 la. People want to freaking sing the Smurf.
Bloody my nose. Who's a bloody yours? You attack my city, I kill yours and take it.
See, I don't believe in we necessarily need to take it, but we do need to sit up there and take those areas and hold them until they understand and tell people how they're going to live, where they're going to live, what they're going to do for their live over a few decades. They'll get through their heads that, okay, we'll leave now because now you're going to act responsibly.
No. Why leave? No, you go to war. You go to war for territory.
I don't want to be there.
Yeah, we don't want to colonize it.
Why not?
Because that's not our goal.
It's sand, and it's dirty, and it's hot, and it sucks being there.
It's Arizona?
It's worse than anything like Arizona. Trust me. There's not even cactus doesn't grow there. All right? It just sucks.
Okay, fair enough. Mole, if you have one more topic for tonight. If not, I don't know. I'm still up. I'm ready to keep going. It's just, I know you don't like politics, so we were going to try and keep the Mad Mole show away from that. So
I found
I'm giving you a chance to correct it.
I did find an interesting article about Hollow Earth and aliens and Nazis living inside. What do you think of that?
Is there penguins?
Huh? I don't know.
Well, let's see.
So we're is it the hollow flat Earth, or is it the hollow bowl Earth, or is it just a hollow spherical Earth?
It's a marble and a cup, MC, at this point. Like,
I gotta find it again. Hold on.
I think that the idea that the Earth is hollow is an intriguing theory.
That's the one I like. I keep trying to bring it up. Everybody's like, "Oh, flat Earth, flat Earth." I'm like, "Hollow Earth, bitches!" Like, this is where it's at. Look into this shit. There was an admiral that fucking like flew up into that bitch. I mean, come on now. Like, Hollow Earth is where it's at. Like, Bird, yeah, Bird, my nigga. Yeah, that's right. There's one.
One what?
I said, it was no hard R. Just saying.
I don't care. Nigga's fine.
I know that they've been looking for the hollow Earth down in South Africa, drilling that freaking gold mine down, what, mile and a half down in the Earth.
Holy shit! That's gonna collapse on them bitches, ain't it?
Yeah, well, it's so hot down there that they can only work for an hour before they have to be relieved because it's literally that hot down there.
They can't go any deeper then. There's no way.
If there's gold down there, somebody's going to go deeper.
Holy shit. Yeah, but they're going to hit a magma pocket or some shit, dude. Can you imagine that?
It's a possibility.
God damn. That's not good. Or oil. They might strike oil.
If it's that hot down there, I guess. I mean...
I think I found it.
You found
cool.
the
Hollow Earth filled with aliens.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this one sounds funny.
So that would explain where Bigfoot goes to on summer vacation.
That's where he's hiding out at, I betcha. It's gotta be it.
I hate you guys right now.
That's where all the ghosts are too. Maybe
Hey.
Jesus is there.
Hey, we'll get to there. Well, the
All right,
Jesus thing,
our
we're outnumbered on there. More.
conspiracy theorists: Earth is hollow and filled with aliens. Where's my mouse? There it is.
You gonna read it?
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll down so quick. My mouse is acting stupid. Okay. Okay, if you thought flat Earth theory was crazy, you hear about this, think again, because there's a growing community of people convinced the Earth is hollow, with a race of superior alien humans, Vikings and Nazis living in paradise at the center. They even believe the flying saucers and UFOs come from within the interior Earth, sent from the highly evolved tribes to spy on us and prevent nuclear war. Spearheading the bizarre movement is Rodney Clough, author of World Top Secret: Our Earth is Hollow. That sounds like a book I'd like to read. He was so confident in the theory that he organized a 2007 voyage to the Hollow Earth, with a plan to set off from Russia on an icebreaker ship to find an opening at the North Pole. The $20,000 per head expedition was canceled, but this in no way dampened enthusiasm for the theory that flies in the face of modern scientific thinking. He told Sun Online that the movement had exploded in popularity, with thousands subscribing to the idea of an inner sun and Earth. More and more people are coming to terms with the fact that the Earth is hollow. I get emails from people learning about it every day, Clough said.
Yeah, because they just read Edgar Rice Burroughs at the Earth's core.
Probably. Or like I said earlier, they just want something different to believe in. They don't want to be conformists. It's definitely growing in popularity. Certainly not in millions, but maybe in the thousands. So what does Clough think of the loony rival theory that the Earth is flat? I don't know how the flat earthers can be so confused, he told Sun Online. Coming from a guy that thinks fucking alien Vikings live in the center of the Earth. They are obviously wrong. The world is not flat, it's hollow. They reject all the evidence. Contrary to flat earthers, the Hollow Earth movement believes that the planet is a sphere, or more specifically, a donut shape. And the theory does not just stop at our Earth. The group believes the moon, sun, stars, and other planets are all hollow bodies as well. There are thought to be 3 substantial openings in the inner Earth, 2 near the poles and 1 in the Himalayas. Clough believes the shell of the Earth is 800 miles thick from the outside of the inner surface. Suspended in the center of the hollow Earth is an interior sun that is divided by day and night. Sides, he says. I don't get that. Day and night sides, so what, like half is it like a yin and yang sun? Like half of it's a fucking nuclear fusion ball, and the other half.
I guess the nuclear fusion ball, it has a little mirror in the back that rotates it, just like a spotlight.
I guess. Those who claim to have traveled to the inner Earth have described the land as like a Garden of Eden. Norwegian sailor Olaf Johnson claimed that he sailed with his dad through an entrance to the Earth's interior at the North Pole in 1811. I think it was probably more like a glacier. He told author Willis George Emerson how they lived in the beautiful paradise for 2 years. Come on.
Why come back? Why would you leave? If it's a paradise, why do you leave?
And if you accidentally find something, what are your chances to find your way back?
Well, first off, why do you leave? No, you leave to tell everybody else about it. I mean, you just discover something wonderful.
First of all, you're in paradise, all right? You know what other humans are like. Are you going to invite them in?
He claimed the superhumans living there were at least 12 feet tall and never got ill. As the Hollow Earth theory has grown in popularity, so has speculation about the people apparently living in the center. It is now thought to be home of Nazis who escaped from World War II, the lost Viking colonies of Greenland, and the lost tribes of Israel. Man, they got everybody down there, don't they? Holy shit. Clef, who lives in Utah, says the superior human race.
Is Elvis down there?
It hasn't said it yet. Possible, though. He said that the superior human race living in the center of the Earth is considered guardians of the planet. They regularly spy on us using spacecraft and flying saucers. They want to keep an eye on us to stop us from starting a nuclear war.
Why?
The majority of UFOs actually come from.
What do you mean why? That'd fuck up the Middle Earth, and
why
also
why would it mess up the Middle Earth?
It would, but also Mole.
Well,
why would
How?
would it be? Wait a minute,
If a nuclear
why
war
is there
happened,
spaceships and flying saucers?
why hold on a second, Mad Dodge. Why would a nuclear war on the surface of the world, right, affect the people in the interior?
First off,
wipe
you
out
assholes,
your number one threat right there.
You assholes test it by digging it into the earth. That sounds like a threat. Just saying.
To stop us from detonating nuclear bombs in the earth, then you got a point. But to stop us from having a nuclear war, I think they'd be encouraging it.
Fair.
They'd be trying to freaking make sure it happened. They would be trying to stop it.
I'm more of a stickler on this technicality right here.
Which one?
Why is it spacecraft and flying saucers? I thought a flying saucer was a spacecraft. Why differentiate the two? That's the technicality I'm fucking stuck on.
That's really what you're stuck on.
That is.
It's a saucer or it's a spacecraft.
No, because spacecraft is what? Like a fucking do they have rockets? No, yeah, space shuttle. They don't have space shuttles, all right. They would have flying saucers and a cigar-shaped craft, but you would say flying saucer. That's what you would say. You wouldn't say spacecraft and flying saucers.
So
that seems really weird.
There's 12-foot immortal Viking Nazis living at the center of the earth who have lived in peace and harmony, and they're spying on us. They're spying on us. And if they want to save our Earth so fucking bad, why wouldn't they make themselves known like Bigfoot?
Well, I can see why they don't want to make themselves known. Because if you're in paradise, you're not going to want other assholes like human beings in general from coming in to visit.
Yeah, right? But coming like fucking New Jersey kids on spring break. Woo! Fucking all up.
I can understand why they want to keep it to themselves. What I don't understand is why not let us wipe ourselves out then? I think they'd be encouraging that.
Right. I mean, they should be safe. They're 800 miles below the surface, right?
And why are they 12-foot Vikings? Did the Vikings start growing at some point? I mean,
and I don't understand that. And like, if they live in the middle of the earth, why are they fucking twice as tall as us? If they're underground, shouldn't they be smaller?
All the fertilizer that we put in the earth is
to accommodate the underground kind of thing, you know.
I mean, I guess it's an excuse for them to say that they're that large because of the Norse mythos about giants and stuff. I guess, you know, frost giants and whatever. That would be the only thing I can guess about that. But I don't see why they would be looking at human beings as anything more than a problem that needs to be exterminated.
So, what do you think, Matt? Do you think it's possible?
From McDonald's?
I don't know. I like the Hollow Earth theory better than the Flat Earth one, but is it possible, really? No. I mean, come on now.
I'll hold your hand.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a theory that would be way cooler than the Earth being flat. I agree with that.
From a scientific standpoint, we don't know what's in the center of the Earth. We have theories.
Yeah.
But without being able to truly test them, it's impossible to know. We know that if we spin liquid metal, we get something similar to the Earth's magnetic field, which is why they think at the center of the Earth there's a huge spinning liquid metal iron core. But there's no necessarily any real proof to that. Plus the fact that one of the questions people have had for a long time, a lot of scientists have had, is, okay, why is it still hot? Now people think that it's a leftover from basically a nuclear furnace down there, from radioactive material and radioactive decay that keeps everything molten at this point in time. But the reality is when we dig, we don't seem to see a higher degree of radioactivity. But then again, we're only going, less than 1% in depth, so it would be very hard with the kind of mechanisms that we have today in order to actually see something like that to evaluate. So we don't know what's in the mantle, underneath the mantle. We have theories.
So what you're saying, to pull a card from memes, what you're saying is the Earth could be hollow. I mean, by all accounts. I mean, when you look at the hollow Earth theory, the diagram, right, where the hollow Earth it rotates one way and the outer Earth rotates the other, and it kind of, it's still spherical, but it's hollow, and there's different layers into it, which we've kind of shown sort of through science that there is different layers to, the Earth. So,
right, but that matches, sounding and earthquake data that we have that explains, okay, the different waves as they travel through the Earth. So yes, but if it was hollow, the waves wouldn't travel in the methods that we see at this point in time.
No, I have a better one. That I actually do believe. I believe the moon is hollow, and I'll tell you why. We crashed a fucking satellite or whatever right into the moon, right? And it rang like a bell. Or no, when we landed the space shuttle, it rang like a bell for 3 hours. And that's because the moon itself is actually hollow. What do you guys think about that?
I've never ever heard that.
Oh my god, dude. Really?
We did not land the space shuttle on the moon.
Not the space shuttle, the fucking capsule. Give me a break,
when
dude.
We landed the capsule on the moon, we did not see any kind of
just a second. All right.
When we did crash
right now. Moon rang like a bell. All right.
Where did you hear that? Are you looking it up?
There is
right now.
There is a story. Go ahead. Come on, Mad Dog.
Oh, I'm getting it. Yeah. I spelled rang wrong, but who cares? Popular science. Here we go. Popular science is accredited, right? That's good enough for you guys?
Popular science is I would say it's fairly accurate, yeah.
Okay, it was Apollo lunar module. It was built for the sole purpose of landing 2 men on the surface of the moon.
Which
the usefulness didn't end after. It doesn't say yet, Dick.
Oh, okay.
I was just reading. Damn it.
Curious.
Now you fucked me up. I'm gonna skip. Yep. All right. Now I'm skipping how it's gonna be dead air.
About the reason they mentioned the Apollo moon landings is because we placed mirrors on there so that we could.
Oh, Apollo 12. Okay, but something interesting happened on Apollo 12 after Pete Conrad and Al Bean landed on the Ocean of Storms on November 14th, 1969. They left the lunar surface 142 hours into the flight. 8 hours later, they were united with Dick Gordon in the command module and sent their spent lunar module back to the moon. It impacted 40 miles away from the Apollo 12 landing site with a force of 1 ton of TNT. The resulting shockwave built up and peaked in just 8 minutes. It took an hour to fully dissipate. So this is Apollo 13. But no, it took a full hour, so it reverberated through the moon as if it was a bell. And the strange result forced scientists to think differently about the moon position. So, I mean, their shock waves are 30 times greater and 4 times longer than those Oh yeah, something similar happened on Apollo 13. The SIVB impacted the moon 85 miles away from the Apollo 12 ASAP. It hit with a force of 11.5 tons of TNT. This translated into a seismic impact. Peaked after 7 minutes with a shockwave 30 times longer than those from Apollo 12. So, I mean, the moon reverberates. Do you think the moon could be hollow?
No,
Because that's where the hollow moon theory comes from.
no, I don't think
And
that.
I'll give you this link.
I don't think that the moon is
Yeah,
hollow.
here's
The moon
this
is
link so you can
that
look
much.
into it better.
The moon is literally that much smaller than the Earth. It has that much less mass.
No, it only reverberates though. You know about acoustics, right?
When they
Like,
talk
it
about
won't reverberate
reverberation,
like that.
right, you're seeing microscopic movements because of the satellite dishes and ranging devices that we utilize. All right, this idea that it's reverberating like a bell, all right, is okay. If you were standing on the moon, would you feel a tremor? Probably not. But you could see it on seismographs and the kind of sensitivity of the equipment that we have there. That doesn't mean that the moon is hollow.
Okay, why does the moon itself stay in one stationary orbit around the Earth? Why doesn't it rotate as well?
It does. It just rotates at the same rotation as the Earth because it's tidally locked.
That's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's why it has the same side basin. Fair enough. Touche. Sorry. I am smoking a bowl, so I take one there for the team. I lost that one. But no, but the moon rang like a bell. NASA doesn't know why. You're telling me you know why? Why are you smarter than NASA?
I have
That's
no
the
idea.
argument.
I'm not saying that I know everything about the moon. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. I'm saying the moon is considerably less dense than the Earth. All right, we don't know what the moon is made out of. To think that the Earth is hollow, though, and that the proof of that is the fact that these vibrations roam around and travel several times around, all right, isn't proof in and of itself of anything, aside from the fact that that the moon's surface is different, all right, than the Earth's surface. But we already know that. We already know that the composition of the moon is not even. It's similar in certain regards to areas of the Earth, but not of the Earth. It's like the lighter aspects of the moon, all right, or the lighter aspects of Earth makes up the moon, which is one of the reasons why people believe, or there's the theory out there that the moon was created as an aggregate after two planetary bodies crashed, creating the Earth, and the lighter leftover ejecta was what became the moon. Okay. Now, I personally don't subscribe to that. I really don't think that that's how the moon formed. Could it happen that way? Yes. I personally like the theory, though, that the Earth captured the moon from one of the other planetary bodies, right? But that's just a theory that I subscribe to. There's no real proof of this, all right, that I'm right, and there's no real proof that I'm definitely wrong. There are elements that seem to support from the geological evidence, right, of the two planetary crashes, but we really don't know. We're just making estimations.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mole,
Yes, sir.
it's been a great first episode of the Mad Mole Show.
It
We
was
had a
fun.
little bit of drama at the beginning,
Oh, that's
and
fun.
it's all good.
That's
We're
fun.
still friends.
Of course. I ain't gonna stop being friends with someone just to argue with them, or I'd have no friends. Fuck.
Well, I'm waiting for him to sit up there and post a picture of him standing over Bigfoot with his shotgun.
Yeah, just wait for August or something. We'll see. I'll go.
Everybody. The next show is going to be more thought out, and I am going to learn how to use OBS, so I'll be able to show clips and the articles I'm reading, so you guys can read along yourself. If you're not subscribed to me, I'm the Unholy Mole. Obviously, you're watching me. And if you're not Mad Dodge or the Mad Libertarian, but I believe his channel is called Mad Dodge Productions. So if you're not subscribed, and MC also has a channel, please do, and thank you for coming. Have a lovely night.